Welcome back. My name is Kit.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things with another edition of Streaming Star Wars, the series where we're revisiting each of the Star Wars canon movies and, revisiting them and ranking them, all kinds of, retrospective things. But
for the Resistance.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to be clear about which side we're on.
Yeah.
But we've got a very special guest. If you look at Phil, like he's pro First Order.
I mean, I'm not going to admit it now.
I've seen his internet history. His name is FN2137.
Well,
Arguments for fascism is good.
He's got the General Hux speech on the Starkiller base, like on repeat in YouTube.
we all do love Donald Gleason.
Mm-hmm, we do.
He's just watching About Time. That's all that was. It wasn't pro First Order.
That's true.
But we've got a very special guest for this episode. Fans of Yellow Jackets and Lost and all things wonderful might recognize Madison.
Hello, everybody. I'm back for the Star Wars coverage, just for The Force Awakens, though. I needed to be here for this
one night only.
One night only. Get your tickets now.
Sold out. Sold out. We actually got a review on Apple Podcasts, and it was something to the effect of, is Madison on anything other than Yellow Jackets? Presumably because they wanted more.
Well, I'm back.
They might have been thinking what else to avoid. I'm not sure, but
that could also be true. It actually was me that wrote that.
Guys, I miss you / Madison.
Yeah. Have me back. Yeah.
It's so good to have you here.
Well, I'm happy to be back.
I don't think we've had a fearsome foursome in a long time, maybe ever.
I think the last time we did it was last Halloween for the trivia. That was you, me, Andy, and Erica.
Ooh.
I told you I had potted with Erica before, and everybody called me crazy.
That's true. That's true.
Call her right now.
Confirm.
Erica, you know how you love it when I tell you you're wrong.
Well, I've got a treat. How are we going to do the Mad Libs with 4 people?
Easy. We just
rotate it
like we normally do, but with a third person.
Oh my God. You're a logistical wizard.
Hey, I thought of everything.
We love production.
Let's do it. Let's do the Mad Libs with 4.
It's time for everyone's favorite section of the show, the Star Wars Mad Libs. And you know what's really extra exciting about today's episode of Mad Libs? Not only are we here doing it, not only is Madison joining us for it, but it is actually the first of our Force Awakens specific Mad Libs for the sequel trilogy. That's right.
Upgrades.
The old book was abandoned because those are the old movies, right? We're in the Disney era now, boys.
Nice.
That's right.
So if you don't know, I'm going to ask these 3 jabronis for words so I can put the pen to the paper, and together we will all craft a story that you can find out at the end of the episode. You can listen to that then. Are you all ready to do this, Mad Libs?
I'm a little nervous.
Yes.
Why are you nervous?
Conjugate.
I'll be fine.
If you panic, just say mittens.
Mittens?
Yeah.
Okay.
It works for me.
That's a move.
Yep. Well, Madison, you're our guest on this episode, so I will go to you first. I need a plural noun.
Starfighters.
Phil, give me a place.
Jakku.
Okay.
Was that not a place?
No, that's a place, but that's like 100% the place they're talking about in the Mad Libs.
We're just being
Okay,
accurate.
fine. Not Jakku.
Not Jakku.
Jakku.
Junkyard.
Kit, give me a noun.
A noun. Banana.
Adjective, Madison.
Funny.
Phil, give me a noun.
Sand.
Kit, give me a verb.
Vibrate.
Madison, I need the name of a person in the room.
Kit. Vibrates.
Kit Vibrate?
That's my new name. Lasers out.
Kit Vibrate
Kit
is
Vibrate.
Laser After Dark.
Welcome
And then-
back.
That's for a different kind of media that you're going to get.
The sound bit is just...
That's what I was going to say. Welcome back. I'm Kit.
Is that your OnlyFans account name?
Sure.
Phil, give me a verb ending in ing.
Oh, no, not that one.
No, that one.
Say it.
Say it.
Say it.
Squirting.
Yes. Okay, give me a noun.
Puddle.
Madison, noun.
Naboo.
Phil, give me an adjective.
Floating.
Kit, adjective.
Sharp.
Madison, plural noun.
Stormtroopers.
Phil, give me a verb.
Zoom. How about
Zoom?
Zoom? Yeah, Zoom.
Sure.
Okay.
That would have been better.
Okay, penetrate.
That's It's always better. Yeah.
Last but not least.
I gotcha.
Verb.
Lick.
Lick. There we go. So stay tuned to the end of the episode to figure out what the story was that everyone created here today.
You can't fast forward or it'll disappear.
It will. There's an algorithm that allows us to know that.
Steve's a coder. He made it happen.
Ooh, hold on.
He's hacking your computer right now.
I'm in.
Damn, you're a 90s hacker.
I didn't even look at the monitor.
It's some weird porn that you're looking at over there.
If you have enough monitors, it's easy to hack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at porn, Madison. I'm looking at the new Streaming Things merch store.
Ooh.
That's right. Go into show notes if you want to get some brand new Streaming Things merch created by West River Printing Company. Also check out their website. They're incredible.
Personally modeled by Steve. Videos sent upon request.
Yeah. Log on to Kit Vibrate at OnlyFans and you'll see us take it off.
Nice.
It's Steve wearing that shirt and nothing else. We've sold 0. I don't know why. But if you're new to this streaming Star Wars series, we have now watched all 6 of the original movies. So there's the OG, and then the prequels, and now we are working on the sequels. We're on The Force Awakens today. We talk about our overall thoughts with each film, go through a scene-by-scene, play-by-play. Not a reenactment. That'd be fun, though. Like we just start LARPing in the middle of the show.
I'm in for it.
I'd be down.
Phil's obviously Chewbacca.
I played,
Obviously.
was it Tito?
You'd be Tito, the little guy on the horse monster.
I feel like that's the role I was born to play. Yeah, just trying to steal BB-8. And then we'll do a couple of fun things at the end. We do what's called a medal ceremony, where we nominate this film for an award, something it does better than all of the other films. And the idea behind that is if you say, a best lightsaber fights, you can never use that again. Right. So you be very serious about it. But at the same time, are we tracking? Do I have any idea what Phil has said? Not really. You know, this is
Hold us accountable.
This is an honor system.
Hold them accountable.
And then we have to rank the movies. However, we have to agree as a group on the ranking. And that's what makes it tough, because I say some wild shit and Steve and Phil have been thinking about ranking Star Wars for 30 years. And so it's really hard to unseat their, really what I would call biases.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Well, you're going to have another one to
I'm
be
actually
on
pretty
there.
excited. I'm actually pretty excited for
be
Madison to
interesting.
come in here and fuck this shit up.
Yeah.
But maybe they surprise me sometimes, you know, you guys. So right now the ranking stands, just to catch up a little ahead of time, just to be thinking about this as you're listening to this, guys, the chaos that might ensue.
Because I think this is where it starts to go off the rails.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited.
Oh boy.
This is a turning point.
Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, Star Wars, A New Hope. Number 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith, yeah.
Number 4, Return of the Jedi. Number 5, Phantom Menace. Number 6, Attack of the Clones. That's where we're at currently. So where's The Force Awakens gonna fit into all that?
Do you agree with that list?
Do I agree with it?
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
As it stands right now, yes.
Okay. Cool.
Where are we gonna force people to be woke? More like The Force Awakens. Oh, how many people said that?
I don't want to go broke, kid.
So when I watched this was just funny. It reminded me of this, but somebody was like on Letterboxd said, so how did the Force fall asleep to begin with? And I just was like, that's so funny. That's so funny.
So true, though.
So
That's how
true.
the Force napping.
By listening to the government.
Yes. Getting ready for the 2016 election.
That's right. That's right. So this movie came out in what, 2015?
Yep.
Directed by J.J. Abrams, the first of the, like you said, Steve, the Disney era of the Star Wars universe. By the way, George Lucas is now officially the richest celebrity.
Yeah, I saw
$5.5 billion of net worth.
Holy shit.
Much of which, almost all of which came from Star Wars specifically, but then also a huge bulk selling it to Disney.
Yeah.
I believe it was a $4 billion sale.
Was that recently, or is that when the sale occurred?
They just recently had an article about how he's the richest celebrity.
Okay.
And the second richest, his buddy, Steven Spielberg.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Look at those guys go.
Look at him go.
Such humble beginnings.
I have a Scrooge McDuck vault that I swim in all my money.
Mostly crying.
Don't bother me. I'm going to the money realm.
All of his drafts of the Phantom Menace just chilling.
Oh.
I feel like we got his first draft on that one.
One and done, George.
That's what I mean.
Cranked it out.
This is perfect. I went to the money vault and just cranked out a masterpiece.
So Madison, I'm curious, what is your history with The Force Awakens? What was it like revisiting it for this episode? What are your overall thoughts?
We're starting with me. Wow. Okay.
You've got the hot seat.
I know. Well, first, let me say, I feel like, I don't know. I was walking into this thinking maybe I'll have the minority opinion about this movie. But then again, I don't know. So my history with the movie is it came out in 2015. I was 17 years old. I was a senior in high school. It was also the first Star Wars movie that I had seen in theaters. And also kind of the first time that like I was a part of this like mass hysteria of Star Wars movies coming out and there being major marketing, major PR for this like upcoming Star Wars movie. And I guess the only way I can like kind of relate it to you guys is like maybe when the prequel trilogy was announced and like everyone was super hyped to like revisit these characters and revisit this story. Similar to me, I was like so excited for this movie to come out. When they announced that they were doing a sequel trilogy, I remember there was a lot of discord around it being a Disney movie, but for some reason it didn't bother me. I was like, I'm excited, like, being like growing up with Star Wars again, just, I was a massive nerd. I was really excited to just see the continuing of like the original trilogy. Cause the prequels was like going back. This was like going forward. And then they announced that, you know, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, like the original cast was going to be in it along with these new people. So that was really exciting. And then also I remember them announcing that the lead was going to be a woman, which was super cool. I liked that they were doing that. They were being very inclusive of like this, because not that Star Wars was a dude series, but it just overall, like the lead characters were men and there were not a lot of women-led characters. So like that was really cool to look forward to. And I remember I remember going to the theater. It was opening weekend and just being in this room with like people like myself that have never experienced a Star Wars movie before and also being in a theater with like older generation Star Wars fans was just so magical and so fun. Like, I remember crying when the opening credits came on, which is very dramatic. However, it was just like my whole life of being a fan and like being surrounded by this. It just felt like a major pop culture moment to be a part of this. And then leaving the theater, I was blown away. I just was like, oh my God, this was so great. Like, I don't know if it was just like, again, the mass hysteria of everything, like being in the environment, experiencing that for the first time. But I feel like that experience is going to just automatically make me feel a certain way about this movie, whether like separating the film as a film itself. But I guess to graduate towards the film, I really like this movie. I mean, as a standalone movie, not even as its association with Star Wars, I think it's a very good timestamp of like modern filmmaking, especially with like visual effects, sci-fi, the dialogue, and the character chemistry between these characters are really well done. I think this is one of J.J. Abrams' better renditions of like a sci-fi movie. I mean, taking away like the Star Wars element, it just visually is beautiful. Like I said, the dialogue is very like witty and very fun. You're just captivated the entire time, or at least I was. And so for that, it is a more memorable, more emotionally like, I have a bigger emotional connection to this movie than I would say the other ones, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's my overall view, my overall take.
Nice.
Mr. Phil, what about you?
Feels like this movie fucking sucks.
No. I like this movie. I think it's one of the better Star Wars movies. I honestly think it's better than most of the prequel movies. I think when this movie came out, I was kind of in a weird place in life, and I was trying to do other things besides steep myself in like Star Wars culture. So I kind of like didn't really pay attention to it until it was basically out. And then as I do with all Star Wars movies, I'm like, well, I have to see it with Steve. So we went.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And I think like most of my enjoyment of the sequel trilogy movies is basically just getting to see it with Steve.
Oh, buddy.
Do we need to leave?
Yeah.
Do we need to leave?
No, watch.
With pleasure.
So really, like, I didn't pay attention to this movie pretty much at all until it was out, and we were like, let's make a plan to go see it. So I went into it kind of blind. Like, I of course saw the trailer for it, but I didn't research it. I didn't look into who the people were or anything about this, because it just wasn't during that time in life. I was just like, I want to explore other things than like movies and TV shows. Like, I want to do stuff like outside of that.
Terrible idea, but go on.
Yeah. But then I watched it and I was like, this is a very familiar movie. If you've seen A New Hope, but that's okay, because I got to see some old legacy characters that I liked a lot. I liked the new villain, villains. I liked Rey a lot. I mean, like, I've heard the critique that's the thing too. Like, I stayed offline for pretty much all of the reactions to this until well after it was out.
You're so strong.
So I was like,
I did not do that.
I asked Steve, like, what are people saying about this movie? And he's like,
Good things.
not
All
good.
good
And I was like,
things.
why? Like, I liked it. He's like, yeah, I did too. Or at least at the time you said you liked it. I don't know if you like it now, but I was like, I didn't really see the whole like Rey's too strong right off the bat thing, because I'm like, it's a fucking movie about crazy shit. Like if they want to make her the way she is, that's fine. Like, Luke was also very powerful in the Force from the get-go after some training. So I didn't really see it like as a big deal. So I liked this movie. I watched it again last night. I liked it again. I don't think it's my favorite of all 9, 10, 11. 11? Yeah.
11.
11.
But
Papa?
yeah, it's fine. Like, I had a great time. I think this movie, its strength is just reorienting us back into Star Wars after such a long pause on seeing the movies. So I think it's a good, decent movie.
Steve,
That's me.
what do you think?
What do I think of The Force Awakens? Honestly, I love this movie. I actually like adore it. So when we went and saw it, I remember leading up to this movie in the years like 2014 to 2015 before it came out. Like, I was just so excited because, a lot of people, when Disney bought the Star Wars property, it was met with a lot of criticism, like, oh, House of Mouse taking another IP, which I totally get. But I was also, I typically skew a little bit more Disney apologist when it comes to in relation to Star Wars, because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Disney's ruining Star Wars. It's like, is it really ruining Star Wars, or is it giving you more Star Wars and thus more opportunities to dislike a Star Wars? And but the one thing that I was bummed about is when we had gone to a celebration, I think the year before Disney had bought. Mm-hmm. Like, very shortly before Disney bought, we went to a Star Wars celebration, which is like a big, huge convention in
2010, right?
We did go
2012.
we went in 2010, but we also, I'm referring to 2012 specifically,
2012,
where they like unveil, like, guess what, guys? Here are these new books that are coming out. There's brand new games coming out. There's TV shows coming out, and you get to see it first. And we like watched episodes of TV shows that were never released, because when Disney bought Star Wars, all that stuff was like canned and was never brought out to light. So it's kind of fun, because it's like, oh, I've seen a Seth Green Star Wars show that literally no one's ever seen. But it's also a bummer, because I was looking forward to seeing more of that. Anyway, so I was super hyped for The Force Awakens, because again, it looked like it was familiar. It was new. It was definitely leaning more into the original trilogy aesthetic, which is my preferred Star Wars aesthetic. And I remember like one of our professors at NKU, John Gibson, shout out to John Gibson.
Love John Gibson.
Love that guy.
JG.
JG. he literally like came into class and like the new Star Wars trailer just dropped and like threw it on because that particular class took place in the Digitorium, which is basically a movie theater.
Huge
so we
ass
just
screen.
threw the Force Awakens trailer up on the huge ass screen and we watched it. We spent a whole like class like dissecting the shots and stuff just because he's a huge Star Wars nerd. And actually, when I graduated in KU, he gave me one of his like action figures as like a gift. I have it behind me somewhere.
That's sweet.
So I love that, man. So I was really hyped for it. It comes out. Phil and I go see this movie. And it was everything I wanted it to be at the time. Is it a perfect movie? No. Like if I watch it with a critical lens, an objective lens, there are things that are wrong with it. But that being said, the vibes are there. The characters are there. It looks amazing. It looks great. I mean, the fact that like, and I've said this so many times, people forget how maligned and hated the prequels were when they came out.
Yeah.
And so when the first line in this movie is, this will begin to set things right. A clear shot at like, hey, we know you hate the prequels, but we're going to make things more OG, which, you know, for good or bad, I think they succeed in this movie for sure. They definitely had a goal. They achieved it. But I do think this is the funniest Star Wars movie.
I had that down
Hands
too.
down.
Yeah.
Maybe a spoiler for our medal ceremony.
Yeah.
The jokes in this movie work for me. And it still feels Star Wars, even with the jokes that they use. For the most part. No, I just really love this movie. And when there's a scene, we'll get to it, but I remember watching the scene in the movie and looking over at Phil and Phil looking over at me.
Yeah.
And the two of us just silently gesticulating to each other in the theater, like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then when the movie ended, like, I'll be honest, when the movie ended, it's like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I was crying just because I was just like, they fucking did it.
It's back.
They did it.
Back.
They made a Star Wars.
They actually made the first Star Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do like this movie. Kit, I'm excited to hear about your thoughts on this movie.
I also love this movie. In fact, I was a little nervous about, because I do think it takes points away from it that it's literally A New Hope. Like it's kind of crazy actually how they've made it through all the levels of production and everyone decided this is what we should do. We should literally make the same fucking movie. But
I think they make this the bones of the movie is the same, like the skeletal structure is the same.
Yeah, I mean, there's the message.
But the window dressing is different enough to be like. I love the idea that one of your main villains is like a dark side user, but it's like I'm feeling conflicted. They're not going to turn me to the light. Like I do like that.
Well, almost
little
all
fist
of the
that they're
differences are just mirrors, kind of, which is fascinating. Like the whole the MacGuffin being in A New Hope, the plans for the Death Star, the ultimate weapon that they need to get to the Rebel. And it's the opposite now. Now the MacGuffin is a different ultimate weapon. It's Luke Skywalker, you know, that the First Order is trying to obtain. So it's kind of the opposite. And it's fascinating that they consider, I think they did that on purpose. They want you to relate Luke Skywalker to the Death Star and like power levels. And that's interesting to me. I was thinking about that watching.
Can't handle a Luke Skywalker.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. We've already seen them. We've already seen them matched up. But it's like the at the end when Poe is racing through like the fucking ditch on the trench.
The valley.
The ditch. We're doing the ditch run.
There's a trench run. There's a Death Star, but everything is there. It's kind of wild.
No, it's bigger this time.
Even bigger. They even have a whole scene where they're like, "Look at the old one. Look at this motherfucker."
Yeah.
However,
I can't wait to get into that.
Yeah.
The lore of that.
I think talking to you guys over the last few weeks, I've realized how much the fact that they did that this way actually cheapens all of the best moments of the original films and like the thematic weight and the way that Darth Vader made that ultimate sacrifice and brought balance to the Force and fulfilled the prophecy at the last second. Mm-hmm. Prophecy is hilarious.
I was trying not to laugh at that. Prophecy.
All of that's so incredible. And then because there's the First Order and all this stuff is happening again, it's like, for fucking what did all of that happen, right? That sucks. But if you in isolation, watching this movie, like you guys have all said, I mean, the action's incredible. The actors are amazing. The characters are great. It's funny. It looks great. Like, what the fuck is there to not like about this movie?
The fans.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I really, it's so rewatchable. I remember I saw it with Andy, and neither of us are huge Star Wars fans. Not really. Like, we watched all the movies as kids, but we were definitely more swords and elves kind of people. And yeah, exactly. And, you know, there's the scene where Rey is sitting next to the AT-AT, and she's got like an old Rebel Alliance helmet on, and she's so fucking adorable.
So
just
Star
like,
Destroyer, but okay.
and
Yeah.
It's an AT-AT.
Yeah.
No, it's an AT.
Oh my God.
Suck it, nerd.
Well, I can just take off my gun.
Leave your gun and badge on this table. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just kind of looked at each other like, this is fucking awesome, you know? Also, we'll get into it more later, but yeah, I know there's a huge criticism. I was actually watching it instead of just being like, shut the fuck up, MAGA dorks. Like, there was like, I was actually trying to see, like, does it make sense the way that she, you know, is attuned so naturally to the Force, like how quickly it, and because there's a scene, I know the scene where it probably rubs people the wrong way is when she's able to do the Jedi mind trick, right? And I was watching it with a critical lens, and I was thinking, I honestly think I know what JJ was doing, and it makes perfect sense to me. Like, the knowledge of the Force, training in the Force has always been amorphous at best.
Yeah.
And we don't even know what Luke did to learn what he learned. All we saw was a fucking, you know, little Yoda backpack, some headstands, some handstands, and then he's ready. So it's like, I could see that she's heard rumors of this Jedi mind trick. Like, and it's like, and it's in their pop culture that they can do this. And so she's just giving it a shot, you know?
Also, like, I always took it, the scene that happens directly before that is she reaches into Kylo Ren's mind and sees his
Maybe
whole
learned
thing.
his whole skill set.
She probably gleaned some stuff off of him.
Yeah.
That's how, and yeah, I like, they're going for like, if when darkness rises, light rises to meet it, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we later learned that there's a connection between them. So obviously when they meet, like, that connection is,
It's like a Voldemort
is
Harry
unlocked.
Potter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
Like, how did he learn parcel tongue? Nobody scoffed at that. He just knows it.
Just knows it. Yeah.
Well, the direct connect, I don't want to get into
I
spoilers
don't
for the
know.
next movie.
Harry Potter. So I'm like, yeah, right.
The direct connection is put there by a person specifically. I don't want to get into the spoilers of that because that's the next movie.
It's because Lily's sacrifice. Oh, wait, I'm getting confused.
It was love.
So, and then there's the fight at the end, which doesn't bother me either. I mean, Rey has lived on this rough planet her entire life. We've already seen that she's incredibly physically capable, and giving her a lightsaber is nothing.
And also,
Kylo is
got-
extremely wounded.
He got shot in
Yeah.
the dick.
And
Chewie shot him in the dick.
he did.
I have
Rightfully
a lot of
so.
thoughts about that fight. So when we get to it, I
right.
think that's a good fight.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
it's
so,
good.
too.
It's good. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I really like this movie. I would have. This is like brain rot, chronically online thing to even say, but I'm embarrassed in advance. But I would have rated it higher on Letterboxd if I had rated Empire higher, because I was like, I'm not ready to admit I like this movie more than Empire.
I will say I saw your letterbox rating last night and I was like, interesting.
That it was slow.
A little bit.
What was
Yeah.
your rating?
It's 3.5.
3.5,
Steve,
which
to
isn't
Steve,
like-
that's high. But
Oh, that's like normal.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, but I was just,
It was 4 for the longest time, but I was like, if I do 4, that means it's better than Empire, which I'm not ready. If I'm ready to tell the public I feel that way, I probally do feel that way, to be honest with you.
Live your life, man.
Dude, just rate it the way you feel.
Listen, I don't want to
it
hear you guys
doesn't
being
matter.
wild right now. You're saying crazy things.
It doesn't
Phil.
matter.
You're saying crazy things.
or just rate them all 4 stars and then rearrange them.
I don't like
go.
most of them is the thing, though.
Oh, well,
That's fair.
I like most of them were like 3 to me. They're like, oh, that was fun. That's extremely flawed, fun time.
Yeah.
Except for Attack of the Clones, which my recent rewatch revealed
Yeah. That's a trash
actively
movie.
an atrocious, borderline offensive movie.
Yeah.
Borderline. They fucking crossed the border on that one.
I wish I died on Geonosis. So I have to watch that movie.
Let's get in here. You know, this was an exciting time. Nobody was nervous about it. Maybe they were nervous, but everybody was excited for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Other than with Andy, I saw each of the sequels with my longtime friend Brad, who was like you guys. Like, he grew up reading all of the ancillary novels and comics, and but unlike you guys, he's from a very small town called Maysville, Kentucky. And even though he's like really cool and smart, he's also like toxic kind of person when it comes to Star Wars. So he calls him Ruin Johnson. You know what I mean? That kind of guy.
He's a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
he's the typical Star Wars.
But he loved this movie.
Yeah.
Like he walked out like super happy. I remember his face when we left Last Jedi though. And he was like trying to reconcile how he felt. And I was like, what's up, man? And he was like, I don't think I liked it. And then it took him like a week of reading other people's stuff on Facebook before he was like,
about it.
But anyway, I people were excited about this, you know?
Yeah.
You remember when this took over Hall H and Kevin Smith got lonely?
Yeah. Because they pulled everyone out, like, we're gonna go watch Force Awakens now, everyone come with us. And Kevin Smith was next in that hall, right? And so everyone just left the hall and he was like, what the fuck?
Well, it was a concert and J.J. Abrams had a big Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con presentation before Kevin Smith. And Kevin Smith like lives for Comic-Con. He loves Hall H. It's like the biggest, hall there. And after JJ's presentation on Star Wars, he was having a concert outside and with like hundreds of stormtroopers walking around and stuff.
Oh, that's what it was.
And he's like, come on, everybody. And so he took everyone with him. And then Kevin's just up on stage with like 4 people. Jay and Silent Bob. And he was so, and plus part of him probably wanted to see the concert.
Yeah, I was going to say like Kevin Smith like definitely wanted to leave that panel.
He was more mad that he couldn't leave the panel and join the fun.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Because I think Kevin Smith like loves Rise of Skywalker. That's how much he loves Star Wars. So like he wanted to be there.
Yikes.
So anyhoozle, the opening crawl starts. We're back, baby. It's basically saying
that's what it says.
Yeah,
Me crying in the theater, sobbing.
We're so fucking back.
Madison's crying! Exclamation point.
How dramatic.
That bitch in the front. Why are you crying?
Fun story. I've been rewatching all these movies with Erica. Like I said, every time a Star Wars movie starts, like dun 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 dun, like
She jumps
every fucking time.
Like excitedly or scared?
No, like it catches her off guard every time. Like she'll be like, she'll know it's happening. Like it's a thing now.
She's ready.
She knows she's like, it's ready, but she'll like, the long time ago will pop up and it's just long enough for her like attention span to be like, hey, actually one.
She's a gem.
It's very jarring.
Yeah.
She thinks they're horror movies.
Scariest movies I've ever seen. Star Wars.
Fair, a few of them are.
But it says, where's Luke? We don't fucking know where Luke is. We lost Luke. The First Order is risen. It's just after the Easter of First Order, basically.
I'm just imagining someone making this crawl with everything that you just said. Where's Luke?
Where's Luke?
We fucking lost Luke.
The First Order is risen. Like R-I-Z-Z-I-N.
That's right.
Sorry.
And Leia's running shit now. And they've sent a daring pilot to Jakku. That's the setup. That's where we're at, right?
Poe Dameron? I love Poe Dameron. Mostly because his name sounds like what you yell when you stub your toe.
Poe Dameron!
Poe Dameron!
I like, right off the bat, I like what JJ's doing because they always have that opening crawl, tilt down, and then you get the Star Destroyer or something akin to that is like the way they all have to start. But this time he did like the shadow of the ship. And
finalizer.
Kind of encompassing the moon.
Which I liked how, I don't know if this is related, but it is in the shape of Kylo's sword. Like the shadow itself is Kylo's sword.
That's cool.
Because it's
I'm talking, this is an audio.
But no, because it looks like a sword. It has like the 2 end pieces. Like that's what it looks like. I don't know if that's
called a cross guard.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's where Elf Boy can help.
Okay.
By the way, I should have talked about this but do you guys remember like in the well, maybe not Phil because he said he avoided all marketing for the most part because he was out taking photos of trees and stuff. But
I fucking love trees.
Hiking tunnels and old trains and stuff. But I remember when the prequels, you weren't conscious, but with the prequels, it was like a whole thing when we saw Darth Maul's double-sided saber. We were like, oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
There's other types of lightsabers.
Yeah. And so they tried to do that with Kylo. Like, it's a very obvious, like, what are we going to do to this saber?
What's the gimmick for this one?
I know I was in like camp. I think it's cool, but there was a lot of like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Why?
People out. And so you guys also liked it.
Yeah,
Like,
I
liked
cool.
it. I mean, I could understand, and I think they definitely caught on to people maybe being like, what is the purpose of like the two end pieces? But then we see it later on in
he fights dirty.
Yes. And so, I mean, not that that's necessarily the reasoning for why his sword was probably made like that. I'm sure it was all aesthetic, which he, as we know, is wearing a mask for no fucking reason. So aesthetic seems...
He's going through a phase, Madison.
Yeah, it's like a cosplay thing.
Aesthetic seems to be his vibe. So, I mean, I think it was cool. I didn't really care that it was maybe logistically not sound, but I liked it. I thought it was cool looking.
I like the idea that the sabers reflect their personality because they are supposed to be, they make their own, right?
Yeah.
And with his, like the whole... He's so emotionally tumultuous that his saber reflects that. It's why it's always crackling and flickering, and I like that idea.
He's aggressive but guarded at the same time. So like having those two extra pieces there to help block like incoming attacks makes sense. And he struggles with like coming back to the light a few times in this movie. So I think it like metaphorically makes sense too. Like from a efficiency perspective, it makes sense to like help provide extra protection from attacks, but also like to mirror who he is.
Yeah.
Well, and you have the Knights of Ren, which I don't, this is obviously major years into the future, but like I can almost see this as like, because he's very obsessed with the past, his grandfather and like the history of like where he comes from. So maybe he's pulling from super major old timey, I don't know, you know what I mean? So
the canonical reason why his lightsaber looks like that is in order to get a red lightsaber blade like that, you have to bleed. I think it's called like force bleeding. You force bleed your crystal that powers the lightsaber. And when he did that,
the Kyber crystal.
Yeah, good job, Chris.
I'm impressed.
When Kylo did that, his crystal cracked and made it unstable. So he had to add two external vents. Because as you see his lightsaber, it crackles and it looks like that. So like it's venting the extra energy because his saber's kind of busted in a way.
Just like his soul.
Yeah, just like his soul. Busted.
Ooh, that's a new band name for us. Soul Bustin'.
Busted Soul. Busted Soul.
Sounds like collective soul. But it's Bustin' Soul. Misa Bustin'.
Misa Bustin'.
So yeah, I like the saber. But anyway, the shadow of the ship.
Anyway, moving on.
We see like even the motherfucking stormtroopers are back. Like they are just like, let's restart. Let's restart, guys.
Yeah.
Like why would the First Order use the stormtroopers? By the way,
they're cool.
We don't have time to do this.
Here's the thing. Go ahead. You make your point and then I'll answer your question. It's not a point.
It's more of a question. Like I think the biggest flaw with this movie is maybe and maybe even you.
Maybe.
If you like reading Wikipedia. you read Wikipedia? But like how did the First Order fill the power vacuum? We know because of the prequels exactly how the Empire rose, and that's neat. But like I have no fucking clue where the First Order came from and how they recruited these troops. And there is a Senate, but it's on like one planet system now, and like it just doesn't politically makes no sense.
Yeah, they don't do a great job. That's I think the biggest flaw of this movie specifically is they don't do.
Yeah, they were like, who cares? Stormtroopers are back, bitch. Isn't it dope?
Yeah, they don't explain the political landscape at all. Now it's since been mostly explained in other mediums, and the Disney Plus shows are kind of setting up how the First Order got to where they are in the beginning of this movie. So maybe in like 10 years we'll have our equivalent of the prequels explaining the OG trilogy, but for this one. That is like a big criticism I have for this movie is you're just kind of like, and especially since like the Senate is on this one planet that looks exactly like Coruscant, but it's not Coruscant. It's just kind of needlessly confusing.
They do that on purpose. Like it's all like they want you to be from. It's a bunch of member berries.
Yeah.
But that's also my biggest criticism is the political power vacuum kind of thing. But what were you going to say?
Essentially, I was just going to make the metaphor like if the Empire is what we think of as like those are Nazis, right? The Empire is like our space Nazis. The First Order is just space Proud Boys. They're just ineffectual, immature dudes cosplaying as their heroes and not being effective at it nearly enough.
But well-financed.
But they're well-funded.
Well-financed and way better organized.
Yeah, they're well-financed by like Darth Peter Thiel and stuff like that.
But I do love the idea of the First Order just being like 12 sweaty neckbeards in a basement, like with a picture of Vader up on the wall. Which is, oh, those are the fans. My bad.
Shots fired.
Ruin Johnson. Anyway, yeah, there's fucking
Shout out,
stormtroopers.
Brad.
Where do we think BB-8 ranks? I mean,
Number one.
I'm tempted to say
Number one.
Okay.
BB-8, America's sweetheart.
Ranks in what?
As far as droids. Like
he's
you
high
got your
up there.
3PO,
Of all the droids we've seen thus far?
Well, all of them in general. We know K2SO is coming, right? And that's really the only contender, I think, above R2.
Yeah.
I think there's R2, K2SO, and BB-8, but I think BB-8 might be number one. That dude's adorable.
Fucking love BB-8.
I know you do, buddy.
I do love BB-8,
Yeah.
but K2SO is my.
He's
is
so
my boy.
funny.
Yeah.
It's Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like mainly why I like it, because it's just it's him.
The odds are high.
They did this on the Ringer podcast, but I was wanting to do this for us one time, where you know how we did the drafts, the like fantasy characters
yeah.
and horror
Like in
villains.
Nom? Yeah.
We do like Star Wars droids.
Oh,
I always thought that would be a fun.
Just a droid draft?
Just the droids.
Droid.
I mean, so you could do like pit droids. It could be a choice.
Sure, yeah.
And then like named droids.
Which droid are we putting in the most fuckable category?
Naked C-3PO.
What if
My
that,
pots are showing.
that female 3PO from the prequels?
Oh,
Yeah, you
the
really
the
liked
silver-
her. Damn, Chris.
Yeah.
The
She
silver
was like a
one?
cheetah.
Yeah.
She knows. That's why I miss Madison.
Yeah.
Every time
She
I get
was hot.
bonked, she would be like,
She
I'm
was
with you.
hot.
Thank you.
I agree. I'll validate anything for you.
They made fun of me because I wanted to fuck that droid.
We're just like, what the hell?
Well,
She was cute.
Out of
She
left
was
field.
cute.
If silver protocol droids are Kit's thing, that means there's I think Return of the Jedi, like you definitely wanted to fuck C-3PO's leg.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but his right leg.
I cannot wait to
So
hear about
sexy.
how he feels about Red Arm C-3PO.
I like it when he's got the battle droid head. I don't know why.
Roger.
It's like kinky.
Call me Roger.
Battle droid's face on that dump truck. Yeah.
So we get
Vicky.
BB-8 immediately. We get fucking Max von Sydow immediately, and the whole MacGuffin bit is handled immediately. Like we get he gives something to Poe. Who the fuck is Max von Sydow? Like he's some kind of force sensitive, but not.
So he's not force sensitive, but
He's obviously just an Alec Guinness stand-in, right? Like that's what they were like. You like
I don't
Obi-Wan and
even know
Alec
if
Guinness?
it's an Alec Guinness stand-in just because he's just so not present in these movies. But like so I had to do some research because I too was like, I don't know who Max von Sydow plays. I know his character's name is Lor San Tekka. That's all I know about this guy. And so I looked him up, and yeah, he's like, he belongs to a church of the Force. So he's like religiously, he believes in the Force. That's like the religion he aspires to. This whole like town that they're in this opening scene is a town called Tuanul, and all the people there are parishioners of this Church of the Force. And he's like,
It's a cult.
yeah, it's basically a cult. But he knows Luke and Leia because he's a cultist who loves the Force. Obviously, he will want to talk to the Jedi people, but he kind of goes around the galaxy and collected Jedi-related, Force-related artifacts. And so that's why he knows so much about the Force and Jedi and all that stuff.
He basically runs Wikipedia.
Yeah, basically, but for Jedi,
Yeah.
like that's his shit. Like, I gotta log on. I learned some new things. But for all of you J.J. Abrams nerds out there who love a J.J. Abrams Easter egg, do you remember what name is always in every single J.J. Abrams movie?
I think it starts with a K.
It does. It's named after his grandfather, Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Kevin.
Wait, is this why it's called the Kelvin timeline in
Star Trek?
Star
Yeah.
Trek? Oh, wow.
Well-
I didn't know that.
Ooh.
Yeah, specifically that first ship is the USS Kelvin.
Right.
Yeah. But in every J.J. Abrams movie, he has something named Kelvin in it. And this entire region of this town is called the Kelvin Ravine. So just fun little J.J. Abrams
I like
tidbit for
that.
you all.
We love our JJ tidbits.
Because you get a lot of J.J. Abrams actors in here in all of them, in this movie and in Rise. Like you get, what's his name? Greg Grunberg, who plays Snap Wexley, the other pilot that he was the pilot in Lost.
Oh,
yeah.
And then what's his name? Ken Leung, who plays one of the rebel dudes in the end, who's like, we need an oscillator. That guy, he's a Lostie as well. You haven't gotten to that season with him in it though yet.
Which season was that?
Which season?
Like four or five.
Four? Okay.
Yeah, he's a good character. He plays Miles in Lost.
I said, what way?
What way?
And there's that little bit where he calls her General Leia, and then Max von Sydow,
she's royalty.
because her name used to be Princess Leia in the original movies. Wink.
But she's not but the place she was a princess of no longer exists.
It's a
She
gray
has
area.
been demoted to general.
Yeah.
It's a gray area.
We don't, when people need a title and we don't know what title to give them, we just throw a general at them.
General.
Pretty much.
But quickly, Kylo and his boys show up from the First Order, and Poe's like, "We got to go. Let's get out of here." But the Max von Sydow was like, "No, somebody's got to run the Discord for the Wikipedia. I have to stay. You leave."
It's trivia day.
So he and BB-8 get in their little X-wing, but no, they blast his ship. So he gets out, starts fighting back, and already this movie is like gnarlier. Like that's one thing I like about Force Awakens is it's actually not for children in the same way that all of the other movies are. Like this is like, it's aware, I think, that the fans are 40 for the most part. And then the newer generation are in their late teens. Like one of the stormtroopers has a fucking flamethrower.
I
and
wrote
he's
that
just
down, like,
melting
that's
people.
brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Like,
and I think too, like just opening up with this essentially like mass murder scene.
Yeah.
And also too, I realized that we haven't gotten to it yet, but the scene where there's blood on a stormtrooper, like really
It's in the scene, right?
It's in this
one.
It's in this scene, yes. But I remember like in the theater making this conscious connection. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen blood in a Star Wars movie.
I don't think so.
There's blood in A New Hope when Obi-Wan cuts that guy's arm off.
In the bar.
But it is rare. When you do see blood in Star Wars, it's like, whoa, because it never rarely happens.
Because it's
The nature of the weapons is burning.
Yeah,
So
and so I guess it's just like there's almost this like humanizing like version with like this one, and also again like it is very brutal, and which I think I liked because again when this was bought by Disney there was a lot of like, oh god, like ew, Disney's gonna like make this whatever, and so I think Disney was very, I don't know, they coddled, like they were aware of the fact that like they were entering different territory and they didn't want their Disneyisms to like ruin Star Wars. And I think this opening scene is like a huge punch in the face to like those critics that wanted to like, demote this movie just because it was a Disney movie,
And we've never seen a stormtrooper mourn a fallen comrade.
Yeah.
So that was like stark to me.
Yes, agreed.
Like, holy shit. And obviously it's because he's having a crisis of faith with being indoctrinated into the stormtrooper.
Are you talking about SN2187, that traitor?
I am.
He said that this was his first fight, right? Like later on. So like he's never seen action up until this point.
Yeah,
And
this is
he
his first.
immediately like caves when it comes to.
And that's a ruse to help us identify and like Finn.
Yeah.
Because we can assume he's never murdered an innocent
anybody.
person.
Yeah, right.
Well, and I think it's an angle that we've never seen before, right? Like stormtroopers are believed to be like, we've never seen any of their faces aside from, I think,
Tamora Morrison.
the
Clone
Wars.
But
Yeah.
like standard stormtroopers, no.
Yeah. And so it's like there's almost been this like blindness of, oh, what is the history of like a stormtrooper? At least for me, like truly, I didn't really know any of that lore until Clone Wars or whatever. And so I guess it really just opened up this new like arc of history and also arc of like emotional connection that we can share with a stormtrooper. Cause really we've not had that sympathy with a stormtrooper before. And I really liked that.
And the First Order stormtroopers are a special breed of stormtroopers in terms of like feeling bad for them because, in the Clone Wars, they're clones, you can feel sympathy for clones and you can watch the Clone Wars to find really great stories about that. During the Galactic Empire, it's all conscripts, like people who are volunteering, are like, yeah, I love this whole Empire thing. Let's fucking do it. They're just normies signing up.
They're January Sixers.
They're the real ones.
Yeah.
And then in this era, the First Order stormtroopers are literally stolen from people at birth and raised through propaganda channels to be nothing but this.
Yeah.
So it's wild that Finn seemingly is the first of many to like kind of break free from that propaganda and that upbringing and that. And it's really sad because like a lot of these dudes like never had a choice because they were stolen as kids and raised to be this way.
They're like the Unsullied.
Yeah.
How old do you think Finn is supposed to be?
I think he's
in his
mid-20s.
Okay. So basically he was raised for 25 years or whatever and like just being trained and waiting in the wings to see action.
But I almost want to believe that he was brought on much later, because the fact that he even knows that he was captured makes me believe that he was a much later capture. Because I mean, I feel like if they were to truly brainwash these individuals, they would not give them any hint of history of where they came from.
He was the Anakin Skywalker of stormtroopers. Too old to begin the training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think, well, and Phasma kind of alludes to this too. Like, I guess this was his first, like almost giving him an opportunity, because he was in sanitation before. I don't know what the ranking system is for that, to graduate from sanitation to combat, but
He cleaned every toilet on Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
A monumental task.
Yeah.
It is. It is. He actually, that's a pretty high up job, sanitation in First Order biz.
Very important.
You got to poop. Everybody poops.
Everybody poops, even in Star Wars.
That's right.
Even the aliens with a bone coming out of their face, they got to poop.
They sometimes more often, depending on what if we're eating the whole portion or 1/4 portion. It just depends.
1/4 portion.
But anyway, not to go back on track with this scene, but there was something we had never seen before ever, which was force stopping a fucking laser bullet.
That was awesome.
Oh, yeah, the force freeze. Yeah.
That was so cool. And I remember there being a major audible gasp in the theater when that happened. And it just was like, so cool. Starting off strong. Amazing.
No, it's fucking
Showcasing the new strength of the main villain too.
It's incredible, and he's able to leave that frozen there for so long, because at the end of this scene, it just
You sort of like forget it's there, and then they like show it again, like at the end of the scene, like, oh yeah, that's right, the bolt.
he was holding it there the whole, and he's able to like freeze entire people, which I don't think we've ever really seen that either. And he does it multiple times.
I do want to throw out like to that laser bolt when he like reactivates it, and it's like a nice little punctuation on the scene, like pew, like how cool. But I don't know if John Boyega, who plays Finn, I don't know if I assume he's the one in the suit during the scene, but I don't know, the way he's able to act in a stormtrooper suit is, you really get the emotion out of it. It's just some really great physical acting for someone whose whole
because
entire...
they slaughter the entire village. He doesn't fire. And also Kylo takes note of that. Like that something's weird about him. You're right. I mean, that somebody in there is doing some good acting, even though you can't see any facial features or anything. I also like the line, of course, Max von Sydow, something far worse has happened to you. Like it's because we get hints that he's...
It's great. It's great world building, because he also says something like, the First Order rose from the dark side. You did not. Like, so you're immediately like, who is this dude, like that was once not evil but is now?
Again, we do have to like try to move a little more quickly through this movie, especially since there's 4 of us. But I am curious, did either of you know the story of the Knights of Ren before this movie and stuff that came later?
I definitely did not.
No.
Okay.
It definitely came later. That was, I think, the comic book that explains what the Knights of Ren are happened closer to the Last Jedi.
I still to this day don't know who they are. I just wanted to know.
I didn't know the context of Knights of Ren, but I did kind of know that there was a lineage, like I knew that the villain was related to Leia and Han.
Okay. What?
You knew that going in?
I think that was revealed in previous, like as a plot summary prior to the movie coming out. They alluded to that majorly.
I can't remember. I want to say I found out about that as I was watching, but I don't.
Really?
But I don't know for sure.
Maybe it's been so long that I'm making that shit up. But
Who knows?
I
With
do
leaks
feel
and
like
stuff. If you're into that
I
culture,
was avoiding leaks and stuff on this movie specifically because I didn't want things to be spoiled. So it might have been, and I just didn't see it.
I can't remember if I want to say I knew, or at least I was like, I was implying that this person, somebody was going to be somebody's kid. But anyway,
well, that's just an assumption when you're watching the Star Wars movie.
Somebody is going to be
someone's kid.
That's right. Everybody poops.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a mommy. Right. That's 2 things we know about Star Wars.
Well, Darth Vader had no daddy, so
that's true.
In my headcanon, he does. I don't know who it is.
All right.
It's just some guy.
Some guy.
And mom was just not one to admit. She liked to party when she was younger.
She was like, his dad's Watto.
Yeah. There was no father.
I'm super ashamed.
Me, what are you talking about? I know the boy.
Mind tricks don't work on me. Ooh. Only pussy.
Nice.
There.
Stamp that. Write that down. Get your notebooks out.
Anywho,
New shirt?
yes. But we find out
Only pussy.
what Watto, my spirit animal. So we find out they're looking for a map to Skywalker. That's what they want so desperately.
Why is there a map?
Why did he? Because he wanted to be like, if you guys do need me, I'm going to make it very difficult, but there is going to be a map.
I just feel like if he's trying to hide from this extremely well-funded, crazy group of villains, he wouldn't have like a map out there.
He's being a woke Instagram girly.
I don't think he's trying to hide.
In the bio, it says I'm off the grid.
Yeah.
But
I think
she still has some pictures on there.
I think the map is technically to the first Jedi Temple, and Luke just said, "I'm going to the first Jedi Temple, everybody."
But he's also there though.
Sure, but like because what's his name? Max von Sydow's character is this like cartographer of like Force stuff. He probably has that, and that's why they go to him. And he's just like, I'm fucking off to the first Jedi Order. And everyone's like, I don't know where that is. He's like, not my problem.
Yeah. It just seems like a very critical piece of information that definitely should never end up in the hands of the wrong people.
It's one of many things that don't hold up to the scrutiny of trying to match this so closely to a New Hope. I think. But we do get that scene. By the way, Oscar Isaac, a national treasure.
Love him.
And we get the first bit of what I think makes this the funniest movie in this franchise when Kylo's just staring at him, and it's genuinely menacing. And then you don't expect it. I didn't, and then all of a sudden, who talks first? You talk first. Like,
So good.
I can't tell with the apparatus.
And he's obviously
it's already funnier than any other Star Wars film.
Again, I think it just kind of going back to what I said earlier, I think it's a really good timestamp of like the evolution of like scripting and just honestly J.J. Abrams writing. I don't know. It just, again, very, very good writing. And I loved the banter. It created such good chemistry between all of these characters. And it's repeated.
Somebody's in charge now who knows how human beings interact.
Right.
But also
Lawrence Kasdan.
Lawrence
Kasdan.
Who wrote Empire Strikes Back, it's worth noting, is the pen of this screenplay specifically. Nice. So we got one of the best to ever do it.
I think, did he do Return as well?
I think he's a co-writer. He's a co-writer in a lot of, 3 of them, I think.
Yeah.
Also, Captain fucking Phasma. Let's go.
Love her.
Huge Gwendolyn Christie fan.
Most underrated or
the
underutilized.
The Boba Fett of this trilogy.
Yeah.
Have we ever seen a different stormtrooper outfit for different ranks before this? I don't think so.
We've seen different types of
We've seen clone troopers.
Like
we've seen
snow troopers, scout troopers, but we haven't seen one like
gold.
Like the clones have like specific rankings painted onto their armor, but not like one like that's like a general or whatever.
Aren't there like red, like very bright red people that
Royal Guards?
That's in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And in Return of the Jedi. The guys the dudes that guard
That's
the
right.
Emperor.
Yeah.
Or the Supreme Leader.
But I don't know if they're necessarily stormtroopers versus just like
I think they can come from stormtroopers, but they're actually like a whole different like training regimen. It's a whole thing.
And there's not just like one of them. Like it's there. That's like a class of guard.
The stormtroopers go to Crunch, but these Royal Guards belong to CrossFit. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Now I
These
understand.
are the CrossFit girlies.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Now I understand.
They do those weird pull-ups.
In the long robes.
They chuck tires.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's full body, more core. Anyway,
my gods will have the most.
We've been on this first scene.
Oh my god!
For a long time.
I'm trying. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do.
Anyway,
for a while.
But they capture Poe, and we cut to BB-8, who sees the explosion. Automatically, we love this little robot. He's sad.
Love him so much.
Oh no! And there's also, I love that we see that little creature that sees BB-8. Like, I want to eat you, but you're a ball. I'm not sure.
I was telling Phil yesterday, like, I immediately love this movie because they're not afraid to be like, let's throw in a weird ass practical puppet that serves no purpose really, other than to say, look at this weird ass practical puppet.
It sets the vibe though.
Honestly, it's so important, and it's what's missing from the prequels.
Absolutely.
Stuff like
I agree.
But we go back to their starship. Poe is in custody. We get FN 2187 taking off his helmet. Phasma chastises him. Nobody gave him permission to humanize himself to the audience.
In my notes, I have chill, bitch. He's trying to breathe.
Nobody told you to do that. Yeah, he's having a full-on panic attack from the mass murder he just witnessed, which you should.
You know he's a good guy because he's not British.
That's true. That's true.
But John Boyega is a British actor.
Right,
So
which is
he is
funny.
doing an American accent.
Right.
The irony of that, yeah. We need to make you look less like an asshole.
I think he should have. I think he should have kept the British accent. That because then he'd be like, "Of course he came from the First Order. Do you not hear it?"
Yeah.
There it is. And then we cut to Rey, the scavenger. We see her. I think it's a great introduction to her because we see her abilities that she's surviving on her own. She's way up in this downed Star Destroyer, which is so fucking cool, by the way.
Yeah.
That we see the remnants of the old movies on this planet. But also, she's way up there. She gets to like, I don't even know what it's called, but you fucking slide back. Like I was watching it with my son yesterday and he's like, how'd she get up there? And I was like, she fucking climbed, bro. It's not easy.
That upper body strength, man.
And then like the little,
be a god of mine. She's got that core strength.
the little sledding down to her speeder is so cute and fun.
This is the I love. So John Williams returns to do the score of this movie. Of
course.
I think his stuff is great in all the movies. What I appreciate about this movie specifically is like the themes for everybody, like Rey's theme. I love Rey's theme, but it's like one of the most subtle, subdued themes in terms of Star Wars. But I just love it adds this sort of like childlike whimsy, like it's and the fact that it's paired with her sliding down a sand dune is like, I already love this character. This is great.
So fun.
She's just playing.
And
She's playing.
we meet Unkar,
Unkar Plot.
voiced by Simon Pegg, which is the legend. And Unkar's a bitch. We can all agree. Hoarding all the food. So she's basically turning in all these little tids and bits for snacks. That's how she survives.
Yeah, he's like, here's this Tide Pod you can eat.
And the quarter portion thing, like that's basically like limbus bread, I'm guessing. Like it fills you up more than it looks like it would.
Yeah.
What do you think it tastes like?
Muffin.
It looks like like green jello.
Muffin, right?
Well, the portion is she's just eating later. I don't know what she did to turn the water into a muffin.
Yeah.
That's like a different powder, I thought.
Oh, I thought the powder was the
Portion. She does that. She sprinkles the powder in there and it becomes the muffin. But then in the next scene, she's like literally eating the green shit from the package.
Maybe the package has like two sides of it, like because there is like different sections.
like a
to it.
lunch-
I'm
Lunchable?
picturing that scene
Yeah.
in Spy Kids where they like put this like weird packet in the microwave and
Yeah.
then it comes out like McDonald's.
Floops, fluglies.
Yeah.
The one complaint I have about Rey, the one thing I cannot get on board with Rey
Mary Sue, I get it.
is she eats with her mouth open.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
She
She's been
raised
by herself
herself
since she was like 7.
I know, but it bothers me.
I like the idea that Rey's like she's a great pilot. She can fight people, super strong with the force, poor manners.
Eats like a cow.
Because she's never had to interact with anyone but Unkar Plot.
Honestly, good for her. Live your truth.
They're just on the Falcon and she's co-piloting and then just rips a huge fart. Yeah. Han Solo's like, the fuck?
Finn's like, I know how we can defeat Starkiller Base. And she's like, like scratching her crotch.
Well, yeah, like they're both like
fart
raised
like a
in this
Wookiee.
weird way where like they shouldn't be like socially trained at all, but like they are normal human beings aside from the fact that she's
I
like,
love the idea that she's just like this super cockneyed rude lady now. Like, oh shit. She's just Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Literally. Decked out tattoos underneath all
Yeah.
the like wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any whoozle. Trying to make me go to Jakku. I said, no. Yeah, so Poe is in the torture chair. Well, first we get more from Unkar. Unkar, I don't fucking know how to say it. I keep putting a little pizzazz on it. I don't think it's there.
I think you're doing a fine job.
She's been there a lot of days. She's like marking it like she's on a prison. We can see thousands of days and it's like, oh shit. And then there's a little bit with the fallen AT-AT or AT-AT with the rebel helmet. It's so good. And then she hears Tito trying to capture BB-8 and she runs up the dune like, fuck you, Tito. I don't even know. I like how she doesn't even know anything about BB-8, but she's like, I fucking hate Tito. 'Cause she doesn't even want BB-8 either. She like he has to like convince her to go with her.
Yeah.
But she's like,
Tito
for
wants
sure.
something?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to put a stop on that.
Yeah. Cut his net. I will fuck you up, Tito. And he's like, you're a cock blocker.
I hate you so much, Ray.
And he's
I
got
want
that,
to see.
like,
I want to see more short films of Tito versus Ray on the scavenger planet.
Or just like Tito in unfortunate circumstances, like is trying to like do bad things, but is just constantly cock blocked.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
she's everywhere.
The weird farting girl fooled me again.
Choose with her mouth open. Take my droid. And
Oh,
then
she does that later in the movie. I can't wait to get to it.
we cut to Poe in the torture chair, but he ain't no snitch. He's not going to talk. But Kylo's like, I could have just rifled through your mind at any time, but I was letting him torture you because it's fun for me. And that's basically what happens.
Yeah.
And he's like, never mind. I know where the droid is. It's in a BB unit.
Yeah, we get to finally see Armitage Hux.
Yes.
I
Played
love
by the
Hux.
indomitable Donald Gleason.
I know. He's so good in this role as like the shitheel
He's
Imperial
such
officer.
a little bitch.
But he gives like
such a
smarmy
little bitch.
Nepo baby too.
He
enough.
is a smarmy
Yeah.
Nepo baby. And
Well, he's Brendan Gleason's son, but he's not smarmy.
There has
Wait,
never
like the
been
characters in that
the
movie?
character is a Nepo baby. Yeah. Armitage
How?
Hux is the son of Armitage Hux is the son of Brendel Hux. And Brendel Hux, along with another character called Sloane, started the First Order. And so he's like the son of one of the founders of the First Order.
Well, then it's kind of funny because you have two Nepo babies going at it with each other,
Yeah.
trying to out Nepo each other.
And that's actually the spot on dynamic of their characters
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I will tell my daddy. I'll tell my daddy.
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 And Malfoy's in the corner like, y'all ain't fucking got
invented
it.
this.
You must be a Weasley.
Must be-
He would be 100% Team Kylo in this
for
situation.
Sure, for
I hate
sure.
ginger.
Is that Bill Weasley? Ew.
And so we find out about Rey in the next scene that she's been waiting there for her family on Jakku for Lord knows how long. And Unkar offers her 60 portions for the droid, which is, from what we've seen so far, months and months of num-nums.
It's a shit ton of muffins.
Everybody behind her is like, oh, shit.
Dude, I would pay 100 portions for BB-8.
For
Yeah.
at least.
1,000 portions.
But she says no. She has a heart. And so,
She has a moment though.
yeah. She's like, that's a lot of
She
food.
said,
I get
"Wait."
it. I get it.
I do be hungry a
I
lot.
don't even know this droid. I just fucking hate Tito. That's how this started. Tito'd be so mad if I made all this money off this droid.
But again, I think it's like I like how we're building this character, right? Because we see her saving this droid that she has no connection to. She fixes his antenna just like willingly, and then sacrifices food for him. Like it's a good character build for Rey. Like you already, as the audience, love her. You know.
But Unkar's like, fine, I'll just fucking steal it. I try to be nice. That's why I don't do that shit. And then we cut to FN2187 busting Poe out. And I love the part where he's like, wait, why are you helping me? And he's like, it's just the right thing to do. You need a pilot. And he's like, I need a pilot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want these guys to shmush so bad. I do.
Bonk.
Like, I want Finn and Poe to be together so bad. Oh my God. It's
What
so
would
bad.
their like relationship name be? Foe or Pin? Oh,
Pin.
Ooh.
Put a pin in it.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I mean, the fact that like, Oscar Isaac, he just look at anybody and immediately you're like, ooh, chemistry. The fact that he just looks at him is like, are we doing this?
So you
Are
ever
we-
seen
and I'm
the-
like, I wish you would right there in the hallway.
And I will say, like, not that their friendship necessarily like generates this like gayness, but there is like undertones. There are undertones, and whether it's like pure just like friendship or if there is like romantic, like I feel like I liked how it was a little edged. Like you didn't
Edging?
really know edging. There were signs, but also they could have pulled away, which they ended up doing. But like
Ew.
I liked how they played with the possibility of that being a potential plot line of their characters.
Just take my jacket.
Man, I missed that completely. I did not get that vibe at all.
Well, you didn't even get Rey and Kylo vibes,
No.
which is wild.
That's not wild. We'll talk about it later. Never mind.
We'll talk about it soon.
Yeah.
But you're going to be arguing with a Raylo.
All the ships are coming out in this episode, and I'm not talking about the boat kind. All right.
So they wreck shit in the TIE fighter. And it's the first time we get to see the inside of a TIE fighter, like calmly, I think. Like obviously they cut to the pilots periodically in the old movies, but like we get to really see around there. I didn't even know there was 2 chairs. Did you? No.
I don't think there were 2 chairs in the
There
old
weren't.
ones.
I think these are new models.
Yeah. these
After
are
a couple
TIE
years, I
2s.
feel like they'd make changes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Supreme Leader, our
scene-
pilots are getting lonely. It's an issue.
This scene does a lot to like make the TIE feel like a real like threat too. Like the way it like absolutely destroys the inside of this ship and like it takes out the guns and stuff. Like it was good to see a TIE like actually a threat for once and not just like a thing that X-Wings shoot.
Yeah.
You just reminded me, like, this is the first time that I've seen stormtroopers actually hit anything.
Yeah.
And like actually do damage to people. So they were working on their aim for sure.
That's how you know that Finn was not fully indoctrinated. He's got pretty good aim.
Yeah.
That's why Phasma's like, something's weird about this one.
Something's off.
Yeah.
But I love that they actually murder like 60 First Order members in this, like on their escape. Like this movie is not pulling any punches. You know, you see them like.
I think they blow up. I think they blow up Jojen Reed from Game of Thrones.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. But as they're escaping, they gotta destroy the ventral cannons. And Kylo knows it was Finn, you know, because he felt earlier that something was weird about FN 2187. And Poe is convinced that he needs to go back to Jakku because that's where his droid is. And Finn just wants to get away from the First Order. He's terrified of them. And so he's like,
Can't go back to Jakku.
Fuck Jakku.
It's a junkyard.
No, it's a droid. It's really cool. It's orange and white. It's a BB model. It's like, I don't give a fuck what color it is, you know, but that's a cool, like bit of writing for later when how he can recognize BB-8. So it's a nice touch. But they get shot and they crash land on Jakku. Finn thinks Poe is dead because that whole scene where he goes back in for him and then it gets in the dune like burps.
I didn't know what actually happened to the TIE here. Does anybody know? Like,
Well, there was a cool scene where Rey is, before she decides to protect BB-8 or let him hang out with her for the night, like in the Wall-E sequence, she tells him directions on how to get to the city. And she says, avoid the Badlands because you'll sink. So I thought it was neat when they're like, oh, we crashed in the Badlands. And then it was like,
gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
So that's all I needed. That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But
Yeah,
he
it just
grabs,
sinks and then blows up underground.
he grabs Poe's jacket before it sinks. And he's like, oh, mine now, I guess. And then we cut to
Dope
Hux.
jacket. I wanted it.
Yeah, it's nice.
He's a thrifter.
It still smells like my recent friend. Hux and Kylo do some arguing, which they're their little Nepo baby arguing stuff. And then Poe is looking for water. He's a thirsty boy. He ends up drinking that pig elephant spit.
Finn is,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Finn is drinking that pig elephant spit, which is wild. But I guess if you're thirsty, you're
That's
thirsty.
a good band name. Pig Elephant Spit.
True.
And then he goes to help Rey, who's being accosted by the thieves. But then he stops
this scene
halfway
so
because
much.
she's handling her own shit.
Ugh, I loved that. Way to make me fall in love with her even more.
Yeah, I love the scene because what you say, we immediately know Rey can handle herself. She beats up those guys. And then I love how BB-8's like snitches on Finn, like, hey, he's wearing my buddy's jacket.
Yeah.
There's that scene where she's like, that guy?
She looks furious.
And she starts running at him, and just John Boyega is so good in this movie. Like his facial reactions to everything is so fun. Because the way he's like, I guess I'll run.
Yeah. She looks scary. She's gonna hit me in the fucking face with that thing for sure.
I just saw her kick those two dudes' asses.
Yeah.
And then when she catches him quickly, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm with the resistance. I'm with the resistance.
I'm with that. This is what we look like.
Yeah. Well, not all of
Sometimes,
us.
not all of us. Sometimes we look different. But
Obviously, I am.
Yeah.
But then the troopers find them immediately. He grabs her hand and runs, and there's a whole good bit where she's like, "Let go of me," and she's like, "I know we're running. I know how to fucking run." You know?
He's
Yeah,
like,
stop
he's like,
taking my
I've been
hand.
binging
Love it.
Doctor Who though. This is what we do.
Yeah. And then there's a great escape sequence. You know, they call it an airstrike, but she says, "We've got a pilot. I'm a pilot, right?" And then there's the whole little joke because everybody throughout all of the movies always acts like the Millennium Falcon is not the coolest
Piece of
fucking
shit.
thing they've ever seen. That
may
one's
not look like
garbage.
much.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take the garbage one, and it's the Falcon.
It pans over as the Falcon. You get the da-da, da-da, da-da.
God, so good
cool.
experiencing that in theaters.
So this scene, like, it hits.
It
hits
hits.
for me.
It hits.
When you like step back and think about it for more than 2 seconds, it's like, why are these TIE fighters not blowing them up this whole time that they're just in this ship? But it still fucking hits.
Yeah.
It's still rad.
The shields, man.
The shields, buddy. And also, like, this movie, like, has like a thing for like, let's take the Millennium Falcon and just have it run into the ground.
Just skipping rocks
constantly.
across the surface of the
Well, she's learning, you know, she's
Well, even later in the movie, it's like bouncing all over
off the
Star
snow.
Killer base and stuff. Yeah. And it's just like all over the place. Like this movie is obsessed with taking the Millennium Falcon and stormtroopers and doing the opposite. Stormtroopers fly in the air. The Millennium Falcon hits the ground, you know?
one of my favorite things is BB-8's little stabilizer wires when the ship,
that's
because
cool.
he's
Yeah.
a ball. So it's like, what's he going to do? And he goes, whoosh, he's thought of that, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's the same reveal
Spider
as when you
BB-8.
see R2's thrusters for the
No,
first
that
time.
one sucked.
But this scene from them getting into the Falcon, flying through the junkyard area and like taking on the two ties is honestly one of my favorite Star Wars scenes across all the movies.
1000%.
The music's great. I think the direction and the camera styling of this sequence is great. There's always motion and the motion flows into each individual shot.
Oh, it's a generally thrilling flight sequence.
And they play with this like focal length that has never been seen before too. Like where and I mean it's all fake. Like it's all generated. But like they do this thing where it looks like you're looking through like a 600 millimeter lens at one point where like the background and the foreground are like squished together.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The way that
Awesome. It's so
Steve
cool.
wished
Yeah.
Poe and Finn were.
Yeah.
Yeah, squished together. But yeah, we get to see all that. They do this really fun, like
Because the
I mean,
cannon
just
gets stuck.
The kinetic motion of even like Rey, you know, moving
It's like Fast and Furious
I don't know, the
type shit.
dials or whatever, like it's making the ship move, and then she flips it back and it flips over, and
The like
it's just so good.
landing legs are still out too. Like
Yeah.
she like doesn't know how to put those
Yep,
up yet.
yep.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just nice
It's
touch.
just the tiny pieces of detail there are really cool.
Yeah.
And Finn and Rey are so cute together because they get that whole like she's amazed that she flew it and he's amazed that she shot it or that he shot it.
They
but then
have the
also
morning after jitters. They're like, we got to talk about last night.
You were so good.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if you felt it, but
the way you
I was
shot
so
that
good.
thing and the way you threw it back.
I shot so hard.
Yeah, exactly. Never been done before. This episode of Streaming Things is sponsored by BetterHelp. What's the first thing you'd do if you had an extra hour in your day?
Sleep.
You would sleep more.
More, yeah.
Okay,
Sleep
that's
more.
fair. Some people might go for a run, read an extra book. A lot of us spend our whole lives wishing we had more time. The question is, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. That's what therapy can do. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so that you can do more of it. You can learn positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. You can get empowered to be the best version of yourself.
You can also nap.
You can also just nap. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, if you've never tried it, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
April is here, the tomb is empty, and it's time to give a special thanks to all of our patrons who keep the lights on at Streaming Things. And I want to give a special shout out to our super patrons for the month of April. Thank you so much to Stanton Valentino, Maddlestat, Bryce Coppin, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Sunshine, Huckleberry Cauliflower, Ashley Hazen, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bluff Pum, AK Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Jason Hawkins, Conrad, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, John Collins, Amanda King, Trisha Bueller, Sun Loving, Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Jen Robinson, Kalisha Reeves, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, Stephen the Fifth, Casey McCain, and Enza. Thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts. And with that, let's get back to the episode.
And then we get angry. Kylo, I love that Kylo is basically just a Kyle. Like he punches
Temper
holes in
tantrums.
drywall. He's just that guy.
The First Order needs a whole department to just like repair the ships that Kylo Ren's on because he destroys them in fits of rage.
It's silly, but honestly, I love this scene, especially the part where, he destroys the whole computer console in his anger that they got away. But then there's the anything else. And it's like, because there is, it just escalates and like.
The acting on this guy, perfect. Like the way he's scared, like made me scared. Like,
but why did he even, I just lie. Anything else? Nope.
Because if he finds out that you lied, you're dead.
But it's not even relevant.
But
there was a girl. Like he's just like,
I hate those.
it's so cooties. It's so silly. Like
so funny.
Everything relevant has already been relayed,
And there's a girl.
This is also a fun little kind of character bit because, like, in the original trilogy, Darth Vader would be like, "Oh, you upset me. Let me choke you over a Zoom call."
Yeah.
Whereas Kylo Ren isn't killing these dudes; he's just freaking out on a wall.
He's not, because he's not his grandfather.
Yeah.
He's not as diabolical. You know,
He's got that rage, but he still has that.
What is it? Empire, where he like literally kills 4 people.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wastes so many guys in that.
Who
movie.
else has got info for me?
Not me. I think Darth Vader has a higher Imperial kill count than the whole Rebel Alliance does.
Seriously.
For sure.
Fair.
But yeah, so Finn admits to, because they have to, there's like a gas leak on the Falcon, and while she's fixing that, he admits that to BB-8 that he's not in the Resistance, but he's like, be a bro, dude.
And BB-8 has that little lighter.
Oh, the butane thumbs up.
Oh my gosh.
That killed in theaters.
So cute.
I love that.
And then
Best
also
droid ever.
they have a little interaction where, because Rey's like, I need to get back to Jakku. And Finn's like, the fuck?
Why does everybody want to go back to Jakku?
But he's like, you got family? You got a boyfriend? Got a cute boyfriend?
Get a cute boyfriend?
None of your business.
Yeah, which I like, because at this point I don't know if your guys' interpretation of Rey, but I feel like there hasn't really been like this love interest for Rey established yet. Like Finn is like there, but like I feel like their relationship is definitely friendship versus a romantic one.
The infatuation is definitely one-sided.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Finn sort of puts that to bed after this movie's done.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's sort of like feeling it out.
Yeah.
The only girl he's ever seen is Phasma, and never without her helmet on.
Right.
So he's just like feeling things at this moment.
Yeah.
Finn
But he had the same reaction to Oscar Isaac, and no one can blame him. So he's just like, I am so confused. This world is filled with hot
loved.
people.
Yeah.
Finn has just gotten out of a cult, an evil death cult, and he runs into this beautiful girl for the first time, and she's the first person that looks at him like he's a hero. So of course he's like, oh wow, this is dope.
Yeah.
I want to experience this more.
He's all gassed up.
Plus, we've all got a new jacket before that just makes us like feel so cool.
Yeah, it's
You like stand up straight. You're like, I got this.
Finn wearing Poe's jacket is akin to Kit wearing the Misty wig.
Yes. I'm being such a
Just
slut right now. So
It's my favorite bit ever.
and then they get sucked into a big ugly ship while they're working on that, and they get scared. So then they go to unfix the gas. They're just going to gas out whoever comes in there. But it's the reveal that it's Han and Chewie.
Chewie, we're home.
I want to say I was getting a little teary eyed. I don't know. I think it was the music. Yeah. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I do remember feeling very overwhelmed with joy in the theater when this scene came on, when they came on the Millennium Falcon.
I think we like elbowed each other at that point. Like,
Yeah. It's like, there
Remember him? Do you remember Han Solo, Steve?
Who's that?
Hands?
This is a deep cut,
And
but I like
Harrison
it.
still looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
He's a fox.
I've been a little critical of Harrison Ford in several movies before, but like he actually, like, you could tell
He was so happy they were finally going to kill him.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting to. Like
Yeah.
he's actually doing a great job of this movie, and I think it's because like this is my last one.
I
Thank
literally
fuck.
have that in my notes. Like, this is the best acting he's ever done in a Star Wars film, because he knows like this is the last one he ever has
Yeah.
to
So
do.
he wanted to die in A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
Or Empire. He wanted to die in
Empire.
Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, because he was like frozen or whatever, and he wanted that to be the end.
Yeah.
I know that's how that call went. When JJ was calling him, he was like, what? And they're like, I'm not doing your fucking Star Wars. Oh, no, hear me out. We're going to kill you. Oh, thank Christ.
Didn't he like break his leg during?
Could you do it in real life,
Yes.
please?
He did. I think
Yeah.
it was when he crashed the plane the first time.
Oh my God.
How many planes has he crashed?
Could we do method acting and you actually fucking kill me, please?
Please.
No, we can't do that, Harrison.
Fine, I'll do it.
I'll live another day. We get a lot of fun tidbits. I love that he's like a legend, and like they know who he is.
Yeah.
For
Which again,
different reasons.
Yeah. Oh, the rebellion general. No, the smuggler.
No, the smuggler, you tool.
Yeah, she respects him for his smuggling. Is this the ship that made it the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs?
It's 12.
12.
Yeah.
14. Like I would take 2 extra parsecs to do that.
Kids these days.
You goddamn move milker. What is a move milker?
I'm adopting that in my everyday speech.
For sure.
You're being a real moof milker right now.
It's like bantha fodder and what's the other one?
Scruffy looking nerf.
Yeah, the nerf herder.
Yeah.
The move milker is definitely a nerf herder attempt, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he stops in his tracks when they mention Luke, and the map to Luke is what they're looking to get back to the rebellion, right? It's
real.
Yeah, I knew Luke, and he's like, the Force is so like honestly, it sounds crazy. It's real.
It's real.
It's all real.
You should,
All of it.
You should try to mind trick people. It works sometimes.
I saw Luke do it once. It was pretty cool.
Rathtars. We learn about Rathtars, which makes me think of Reptar.
So scary.
I'm not gonna lie. I put it as raptors in my notes and just
Left it.
Blondie is repeated
you go.
in my head. Yeah.
Rathtars, gotta find the Rathtars.
And a Guavian Death Gang. There's a lot going on right now.
Guavian Death, yeah, Kanji Club.
Conja Club. Tell
And-
that to Conja
Tell
Club.
that to Kanji Club.
And Balatik.
Yeah, the guy that plays Balatik, for someone who has so little screen time, he's one of the most memorable characters in this movie just because of purely the way he says Kanji Club.
And the guy's name's not even fucking Conja Club.
Yeah.
I forget what it is, but when
It's
he goes...
Balatik.
No. When the other guy who's referenced as Conja Club. when
Tasu
it-
Leech?
Yeah. They're like, all of a sudden, they're like, this is their chance. Tell that to Conja Club. Hello, Tasu League. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? Who is Conja Club?
I'm taking these Rathtars to King Prana. Did you ever hear of the Trilla Massacre? It's all this like lore dump really quickly.
Honestly,
Yeah.
What's happening?
They
Yeah.
really loaded Harrison Ford up with a lot of bullshit to say, like all at once.
Just to make it as unpleasant for him as possible.
Yeah.
But for those of you who listened or watched the Raid Redemption coverage, those dudes are
Yeah.
in Kanji Club.
Our boys are back
They're
there. It's
there.
Mad Dog himself.
Yep.
And then, so they both want their money back. They've been swindled by Han Solo. They're both angry about
Have I
it.
ever let you down? Yes, twice.
What was the second time?
What was the second time?
It's great. It's great banter.
So good.
Rey lets the Rathtars out while trying to shut them into that chamber, lock them in there, which actually is effective in saving Han's life. And then so the Rathtars fucking start wrecking house. One gets Finn.
Do you like
and
the Rathtar design?
I do.
Yeah.
What's not to
Me
like
too.
about the...
I like it. They're just like so silly.
Yeah.
Scary. I thought it like the way it moved and the
Tentacles.
teeth and stuff was
Yes.
like
Yeah.
scary.
It's just like a giant koosh ball
Yeah.
with teeth. I love it.
Is
Tentacles.
that a hot take? Are there people that don't like the Rathtars?
I just always wondered what other people's because it's such an out there design.
It's fun.
Yeah, I love it.
Can't go wrong with tentacles and teeth.
And I think the scale of them, like in those small hallways too, like
Yeah.
also adds to the threat because
Yeah.
it's like you can't get around them.
And I mean, I guess like when you're characterizing like a creature like that, like, I don't know, it just seemed very, I don't know. I feel like they don't do it that often. Maybe I don't know, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool little, oh yeah, we have these interactions with these creatures.
Did any of you guys ever read Stephen King's The Langoliers?
No.
No, okay. This is what I always pictured the Langoliers looking like, or Rathtars. So it was just kind of a fun, like, oh, neat.
He loves this movie.
He does Stephen King love this movie?
I assume.
Probably. He has good taste.
Yeah, he's always into like pop culture and stuff.
Yeah.
But one gets Finn and she saves him with the door. And I love the bit where he's like, a fucking door? Cut it off right at the last second. She's like, that was lucky.
That's okay.
She doesn't even take credit for it.
She's humble.
She's such a humble queen. But Chewie gets shot. Oh no. While he's, and then it's the Star Wars thing where if you just shoot a keypad, the door will open. I don't even know why they have them. They should just be bullet holes. Why would anyone use that?
Go to my room.
I guess if you want to reuse it,
I mean, you can just shoot it again. It'll close.
maybe so, yeah.
And then they have to launch into hyperspace from the hangar, a dangerous move. But, Han's always like, I always think about that after I do it.
There's a Rattar on the
I
cockpit.
like how
love
it
it.
like spreads apart over the
Yeah.
cockpit.
Yeah.
Imagine
really
being
cool.
outside when you go into hyperspace.
Yeah.
Not a good look. But then Balatik snitches to the First Order. So we've got pretty good plot going, I feel like, guys. We're invested. We're in. We get to see the new Death Star, the Star Killer base. Which is just a planet that they built a weapon in the middle of.
Fun lore fact, that
Okay.
planet is the planet Ilum.
Okay.
And
Like kill 'em?
like kill him, but take that K out. Kill that K. Canonically, Ilum is the planet where Jedi get their kyber crystals to make their lightsabers from. And it's how
Really?
devious that now there are no Jedi. The First Order took over the planet, hollowed it out, and used, I assume, the kyber crystals that are just all over that planet to create the big laser
Interesting.
stuff.
Is that canon information?
It is.
They don't come from Jeddah. The kyber
Why was that
crystals
not
aren't.
included in the story? I feel like that's a really cool.
I think Ilum in and of itself is like a very nerdy reference. Like you would have to be like balls deep into the Clone Wars or the books to
Yeah.
really
I
get
guess
that reference.
the introduction of the crystals in this movie would have been a lot of
Yeah.
information.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
You can play on the planet Ilum in Battlefront. Yeah, I think that's
You
Ilum, right? Is that Ilum?
visited in Jedi Outcast or Jedi.
That's
Law
right.
and Order.
What was the first one called? Was
it Fallen
Survivor?
Oh, I thought you said Law and Order, and I got
Fallen
so
Order.
Law and
happy.
Order was
that
the
the one?
first one. Survivor is the second one.
Yeah.
Jedi Law and Order. Kong Kong.
Jedi Special Victims Unit.
Executive producer Dick Wolf.
But yeah, we see the new Death Star and giant Snoke. And I remember sitting in theaters vividly, so confused that there was a giant
Thought it was
man.
a big dude.
Yeah, and then it's revealed that it's a
Oh,
hologram.
it's- Right.
He's the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I wasn't like clear. Like, is that just a guy or is that like a
The first time
projection
you're
or what?
watching
Yeah.
it, everybody's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I think my interpretation was he's a
Big
big
man.
boy.
I actually remember
He's a
in
big
the
boy.
movie theater witnessing this. I was like, that's a weird choice that they're making the big bad guy like a big
A literal big bad
kaiju
guy.
dude.
Yeah.
And then when he like flitters away in the hologram, I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have liked that.
It was a cool reveal though. But he and Kylo talk about an awakening, right? Like
There's been an awakening.
basically Rey, right? Like learning, realizing the force powers and stuff. Yeah, I don't know why my next note is your papa has the droid. Oh, he's like, and you know it's your dad, right? Are you gonna be able to do that? Are you okay? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm good.
Oh, yeah. This is when he drops the line that his dad is Han Solo.
That's right. This is the reveal for those who didn't already know. We cut back to Chewie, who's resisting being patched up by Finn. And
He's killed me he's almost killed me 6 times, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
which probably my favorite joke line in this movie, and there's a few good ones, is Harrison angrily walking past BB-8 and going, "Move, ball."
That's a great one.
That actually was not in the script. That was just him.
I love that.
I love it. He was just trying to get offset to use the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
And this was rewatching this was the first time that I'd heard that line because it was the first time I remembered. Oh, he says that. That's funny.
So funny. Move, ball.
Move ball.
Yep. And then we get to the little member berry. I forget what chess is called in Star Wars, but it's
Dejarik.
Dejarik table?
Yeah, little Dejarik
That was
table.
for the fans.
I love how when he turns it on, there's a cut to Chewie in the bed, like, oh, you want a game?
Yeah. I will
Yeah.
fuck
We
you
doing a
up.
game?
Well, I thought I read somewhere that like the action of the characters on the table is a continuation of the game from I forget what
Interesting.
movie, but it is like
A New Hope.
A New Hope, where I guess one of the creatures is defeating the other, and it's like
It's literally that
it's the
version of the game.
completion of that fight is what happens in this.
I was going to ask if it was like the board was set up the same way.
You got to let the Wookiee win, though.
You have to.
have to.
He'll rip your arms off. And then BB shows them the map. And we realize it's just a piece of the map. It's not the entire thing. And we learn a little bit about why Luke left. He was training a whole new batch of Jedi. One turned on him. And he's like, yeah, Jedi are real. It's a
I
whole
wonder
thing.
which one.
That's true.
It's the whole thing.
Oh,
And then we get to the planet that they're, I forget where they're even going.
Takadana.
Takadana. And
Mas
Rey's like,
Canadas.
I didn't know about the
Taco
color.
donuts.
I love this color green. Wow.
She does a Trinity from the Matrix.
Yeah.
The tracking shot into this place is really cool.
Yeah. It's, the whole movie's so gorgy. So gorge. But Han knows that Finn is lying. Women always figure out the truth.
Big deal.
Mr. Big Deal, Mr. Big D. I see what you're doing and I respect it. And then he gives her a gun and she's like, hey, pull the trigger. There's a little more to it than that.
Well, I think there's like I liked previously they had like good banter in the cockpit of like them when they're flying and like Han's like do this and she's already like
They always
one
finish each other's sentences.
Yeah, one step ahead of each other and then in this instance, he's like, here's this gun. She's like, do you know how to use it? She's like, yeah, pull the trigger. And like he's recognizing that like she's with it. She knows her shit.
Got moxie is what he would
She's
say.
pretty cool.
Yeah. And
Chewie's starting to like you.
and at this point, like in my head as an audience member, I just remember feeling, okay, there seems to be a really good chemistry between the two of them. I wonder what that is. And maybe we can talk more about like how that's going to feed into like theories that developed after this movie. But like, I feel like the chemistry created between these two characters really fueled a lot of major theories as to who Rey is. But overall, I just liked how you gave, Han Solo this much younger, like kind of version of himself, like in a sense of like him being a very good pilot. And then you have Rey, who also is inherently a very good pilot. It just was nice to see the two of them complement each other in that way. Cause I don't know if Han's necessarily had that outside of maybe Lando. And Lando, although he's a cool character, he's just, kind of a piece of shit friend. So, I liked, overall what I'm saying is I really liked the chemistry between Rey and Han. And, as we progress into the movie, there's more of an emotional connection. There's more of a father-daughter figure between the two of them. And so it's nice. And I liked the build and the creation of that relationship throughout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he offers Rey a job and she's really excited and honored by that. And then at the last second remembers, now I got to go back to Jakku because she feels guilty leaving. She's been waiting for her family to return for many, many years. We get the introduction of Maz Kanata.
I love Maz Kanata.
Don't
Maz is
stare.
great. Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Where's my boyfriend?
I like that Wookiee.
So good.
Do you know what kind of music is playing in this little cantina?
Meg the Stallion.
I think it's Jizz.
It's actually Splooge.
Is it?
It's,
I knew there was a joke coming.
it's Splooge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Do you remember that, Madison? Remember the cantina music?
The name of
I know the cantina scene. Yeah.
Yes.
In my notes, I wrote Cantina Part 2.
That style of music is canonically called Jizz.
I hate that.
So this is a
hate
little
that
different.
so much.
It's called Splooge.
It's Jizz with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, Jizz-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because he
good.
made the song.
I like that Wookiee.
That's funny.
And there's a fucking bunch of snitches in this nightclub.
Yeah.
Everybody in there's like calling the First Order, right?
Which I remember
They're calling
there's-
the resistance too.
After this came out, I remember people were saying, why would Han Solo bring these people here? Like knowing that this place was full of informants,
He likes to party. He likes to
guess.
do a little blow,
I guess.
hang out in clubs. He's always in there.
He's older. He's a little rusty. Maybe he didn't think about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you live your life just constantly looking over your shoulder that someone's going to snitch on you, you're not going to be able to live a life.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Plus, they don't know that Balatik has already alerted the First Order and like they're looking specifically for this crew, I guess you could say. But we cut to Kylo. He's in there struggling, talking into Granddaddy. And I like the whole idea because we've never seen somebody in the Sith being quote unquote seduced by the light, right? Like it works both ways, right? We've seen Vader struggle, of course, but this is explicitly said like where he's actually struggling for. He's fighting
There's still
against
good
it.
in him.
Yeah. But there's the reveal that he found Darth Vader's helmet somehow that was on the rebuilding Death Star that exploded, right?
Yes.
Which is why it's all melted, but like how's it even?
well,
He
He was
took
on
Vader's
Endor.
body though.
It was on
Yeah,
Endor.
they
When
burned
he
Vader's body.
Yeah, when he cremates him on Endor with his mask on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's the cremated helmet.
We still don't know how that ended up in Kylo Ren's.
The Force brought him to it.
Maybe Luke took it and then he
There's
gave it to Leia and then she gave it to Ben. And
He's
then
got an app. He's got an
That
app.
one guy, took it for the archives, and then Kylo was like, "Give me that."
Max von Sydow, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the little Wookiees were putting it up on Galactic eBay.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren's like, I have to have this. Grandfather, I'll do the instant buy.
60 portions.
60 portions. Yeah. Right.
OBO.
Yeah.
But then Maz says that Solo needs to go home. Like, I know you haven't been talking to Leia. It's time to fucking hang it up. Quit being a little bitch about it and go handle that shit. But Finn is a scared boy and he wants to run. So, and Rey's so disappointed in him when he's like ready to not fight anymore. He's like, oh, we should just get out of here. He said, what are you talking about?
Finn, my friend of 3 hours.
You're being a real pussy right now. And then, so he tells Rey at that moment, he's not actually a resistance fighter or a hero.
She takes that very well.
I'm a stormtrooper. Yeah. I mean, she hasn't been lied to very long and it's a stretch of the truth. She's very,
It's fair.
she's very full of grace for him about that. But no, he decides to leave with the mercenaries. And then we get this fucking crazy scene. I think the only thing like it, and there's another analog in Last Jedi, but it's the scene where Luke is on Dagobah and he gets like trips balls about Vader and stuff.
The cave.
Yep.
Yeah, she hears a little girl crying in the sound design. And not to brag, but I have a full Sonos surround sound system. So I've got the subwoofer.
Cool.
and the-
Look at me.
Shameless plug.
Oh, look at me. Can you like cancel?
but they
I
did
have a
it.
Sonos.
They did it so well because like
Yeah.
you could just hear the little girl in like my right ear really
Yeah.
far back, and then it keeps flooding around the room, and
Ray.
it's so fucking well done. We get a little bit of Obi-Wan.
Ray.
She finds
Yeah.
the lightsaber. We see R2 fucking. We hear Yoda talking. We
Ray.
hear. Were those the Knights of Ren that we saw?
Yes.
And then
Where are the Knights of Ren?
Obi-Wan. Ray.
I found they found
These are the
a,
first steps.
the Ray is apparently they found a line read from Alec Guinness in the original movies where he says the word afraid and they just edit it to where it sounds
Ray.
Ray. Yeah.
That's great.
And then they had
They couldn't just get a guy to say Ray.
Well, I also heard that they
Get a
got
Steve to
they got-
emulate. Yeah, Alec Guinness.
They did hire Ewan McGregor and Frank Oz to record lines for this sequence, but
they
they
didn't
ended
use
up
them.
not using either of them. They used old Yoda lines from the original movie because I guess they were like, Frank Oz, you sound busted now.
You don't got it anymore.
You sound too much like Fozzie Bear when you're doing Yoda. I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
don't know the
they
reason
did.
why
They,
they didn't use
they
them.
did use Ewan McGregor though.
Did they? Where did they use you?
So at the very end of the sequence, I think he says, "These are the next steps." or
Yeah,
the-
these are your first steps.
these are your
okay.
first steps.
I thought it sounded like Ewan as well. Hello, that's probably.
It definitely is.
That's probably
What
it.
if
I know
they
they
used
didn't
that
use
one?
Frank.
How
for
funny
sure.
would that be if she touches the saber and hello there?
Hello
She's
there.
like, oh, Jesus. But Maz comes down and says that was Luke's lightsaber calling to you. You should take it. And Rey's like, I'm not going to touch that thing ever again. That was terrible.
Fuck that.
I was having a bad trip.
Yeah.
It wasn't that milk you gave me.
The belonging you seek is not behind you, it's ahead. And that's Maz talking to the audience as well, guys. You know, like, hey, guys,
Such good
let it go.
setups.
Let the past die.
I'm never touching that thing again, which is what Steve said the same, at the time we met for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, get over it, buddy. It's going to be fine.
And then I did exactly what Ray does. I go and run into the woods.
He did. But then we cut to Ginger Hitler, aka Hux,
He's doing his best, Hitler.
and they kill a whole planet and its moons, which
system,
comprises the entirety of the
And-
Republic at this point.
And I didn't pick up on this until this rewatch was the whole because they mentioned we blew up the New Republic Defense Force. And you can see like a fleet of ships on the planet that also get blown up. So it's like, oh, the New Republic has no army now. Like there's no one to back up the resistance.
Nobody.
The Republic.
Nobody. But the First Order lands on wherever they're playing the splooge.
Taco Donut.
Maz
Yes.
planet.
Maz's planet. Rey is out west, heading out with the droid, and Han is fucking him up, and it's cool.
Yeah.
And
He no scopes a guy at one point.
He does.
yeah.
He does. And then Maz,
He's like, I've done this before.
There's a part where Maz, he like asks her like, how did you get this? And she's like, a story for another time. And that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like the writers are like, we don't know how
yet.
to
We
explain
don't know
this.
yet.
Just fucking,
It's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
we
fine.
don't know yet. But Maz
Yeah,
says
because Finn
that,
takes the saber.
Yeah.
that Rey and BB-8 need him. And yeah, he has the saber. The crossbow blaster in action
I like this.
is actually nuts, even though the whole thing is silly that like he's been with Chewie for 50 years and he's never
never
used his
used it,
gun or
yeah.
seen it work or anything. But
That
it's
was the
still
new
neat.
one.
Yeah,
New model.
It's an upgraded
Yeah,
model.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, it shoots red bolts, not green bolts.
Yeah. And it's like, and they're like grenade launchers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really
Unless
great
they
writing
shoot
because
Kylo.
they use this setup as like a punchline because Han's like this I like this but it's also when Chewie shoots Kylo towards the end of the movie it also adds to the fact like oh Kylo's kind of a boss because he took that
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
fucked him up and that's
Yeah.
why he's injured in the end of the movie he got shot with the grenade thrower
Yeah.
and took it like a champ
In the dick.
shot in the dick
And then we run
Was
into
it
that
the dick?
that really no.
Just like the hip. But it's
just-
just
I took
You were
that
so
literally. My
worried
bad.
for Kylo's dick.
I just was like, did I
all my ships
not get that?
no.
Never mind.
Why is she shooting me in the dick only?
That ruins my fan fiction if it's shot in the dick. But we get that really indignant stormtrooper that runs into Fenn. Traitor!
Traitor!
I'm so mad I'm going to fight you hand to hand. And he pulls out that
299
that
with his
fucking-
6 spins. He's got that little like that nightstick.
It's like a baton. Yeah, like a nightstick.
He's like the big boss man from WWF in the 1990s. He's flipping that thing around. It was dope.
Yep. And then, but Han saves him. You're okay, big deal. And then they do the fucking Star Wars thing that every time I'm liking these movies, they do. We're in the middle of a war. Nobody knows who any of these people are. You're supposed to be killing everybody. But when they finally get the drop on our heroes, they arrest them. I know. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, they want to know
Every
where the
time.
droid is.
It's dumb.
So they're going to take them and question him.
It's dumb.
That's not dumb. It
If you're
makes
in the
complete
heat,
sense.
if you're in the heat of a battle and you are just a private amongst 20,000 other soldiers and you are shooting at somebody who has killed 6 of your friends and you get the drop of them, you never have the wherewithal to be like, oh, my boss 13 orders ahead of me in line.
If your boss
wants
is
to talk to them.
Kylo Ren,
That's not going to be occurring to you. Like, this is like a heated battle. This is like chaos, you know?
I don't agree with you on this at all.
I mean, I do see your point. Like, they did just blow up an entire planet of people. Why are they capturing like prisoners? Like I understand
your
that,
average
but
grunt doesn't even know you're looking for the droid. Like, we're going to this mission. We're going to take out the rebels.
Teak knows they're looking for the droid. They definitely know that they're looking for this fucking droid. That's the whole reason they're there.
You're going to stand there and tell me you ain't never had
Kanji Club knows they're looking for the glove. Fucking Kanji Club knows.
Yeah, because those are bounty hunters and criminal. Like, they've put out a thing to the
Who hired them?
Okay.
The
They know
First
the
Order.
droid's missing.
Phil, I'm scared.
I can't believe you're defending this as anything other
Phil,
than
Mom
an
and Dad are
obvious
fighting.
plot device to save the heroes.
Oh, yeah.
Which has happened to Han specifically 4 times.
And this is not the most egregious way. Part of that.
I'm going to use a restroom while you guys.
Or you guys can contribute.
Well, if we could get
I did.
a word in edgewise.
That's fair.
I think the point is like the standard troop might not be privy to what the mission is. They're just directed to go attack. I think that's the point you're trying to make. But I understand Steve's point too. Like, there's a lot of people in on like the mission here. And presumably before they offloaded off of these ships, they're told like, kill anybody, but make sure you get the droid, because the droid is the thing we need. Mm-hmm. So if these people are associated with the droid, they might want to hold these people hostage to get the droid. So I see both sides here.
Yeah, I
That
do
side
as
is
well.
dumb.
We're at war. Pick a side.
It's also a movie.
That's my other point. It's a movie. Obviously,
It's a movie for kids. It's a
because
movie.
we can't kill the heroes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like,
If you're going to say like there's a contrived plot point where like the heroes aren't being killed and it doesn't make sense, it's when Finn is grabbed by a Rathtar and it just rolls
Doesn't
him
eat
around
him.
and it
Yeah,
doesn't eat
for
him.
sure.
That's the more egregious
Yeah.
example of that.
that one he wanted to cook.
I mean,
He wasn't as voraciously hungry
I mean,
anymore.
later.
I guess what would be the opposing option is for them to continue fighting and then the resistance come in. Like, I feel like they needed that pause to kind of introduce Poe being there, being alive. Like, I feel like they needed something to kind of settle the battle that was happening to introduce the resistance coming in and like fucking shit up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they could have, I don't know. I feel like to me, it didn't, the logistics behind the stormtroopers' thought process didn't necessarily jade the scene overall. I just was kind of like,
It's not a huge deal, despite what our listeners
Really?
might be
Well, we spent
thinking.
like
Sounds
5 minutes on this. So
Interesting.
Well, if I can talk. But I did go on a rant about it at Return of the Jedi. And I thought it was interesting that they did it again.
yeah.
And it's a uniquely Star Wars and James Bond issue that everyone else with a pen seems to be able to avoid. And I was just throwing that out there. That was dirty. That was a dirty jab.
That
That was a dirty jab.
How dare you do that to James Bond? That poor man just trying.
No, Kit wants them to line up against the wall. Stormtroopers aim and just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, again, it's unfortunate we're harping on this, but it's like, or I'm harping on this, but there's other ways that I think, you get like guns that are out of bullets. Doesn't work in Star Wars, but there's other ways to like give a beat in danger before someone comes to the rescue. And, you know, it's just a silly thing. But as Madison said, the resistance flies on in, wrecks shit. We get Poe.
Got one hell of a pilot.
Holy shit.
Thin, goo eyes.
It's so fucking cool. How many, like, Poe just like.
That one shot of just following his X-Wing around as he murks, like 10 TIE fighters in a single tracking shot.
Destroys them.
And then Finn's like, I don't know why, but I'm sexually attracted to that pilot.
That's one hell of a pilot.
Yeah.
Wink.
And he's not even like super force sensitive. Like we've seen Anakin fly, we've seen Luke fly, and nobody's done shit like this. And I love it. It's because we didn't have the like
except for
technology with
Wedge.
computers.
Yeah, that's true. What'd you say?
Wedge.
Oh yeah, Wedge fucks.
Yeah.
Maybe he's Wedge's son.
Maybe.
Sorry,
Wedge Dameron.
Snap Wexley is actually Wedge's stepson.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a real thing?
Yep, I found that out today.
Also, it hasn't happened yet. The big reveal for me is coming up soon. I'll leave that. But there's one of the pilots is somebody that I love, and I didn't remember them being in this movie. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah, but Poe's a fucking monster. And Finn finally gets a blaster. Like he's asked for a gun like 3 times in the movie. And when he gets one, he's actually good with it. Like, he's no Han Solo, but he kills 3 people.
Yeah.
They definitely should have been aware that he wasn't a real stormtrooper.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, holy shit. You need to go back to reconditioning.
Whoa, you're making us all look bad.
Kylo comes upon Rey and freezes her. And at this point, he's like, we have what we need because she's seen the map. And so he doesn't need the droid anymore because he can just read her mind to get the layout of the map. But also he likes Rey. He wants to spare her. He wants to take her with him. Like he manufactures this is my read on this scene.
Pretty. I think he's more like I think he's just more like intrigued by the fact that like, oh, like there's like something about this person that's like unique and different than anybody else on this team. Like let's take her and like examine this further.
Yeah. Like I almost wonder if, I mean, because he kind of tries to do the force mind read thing on her. I mean, I'm sure he could sense that she's force sensitive a little bit. So
100%.
I think he just wanted to, because also too, you know, Snoke is this, you know, the awful bad guy. I'm sure he wanted to like bring Snoke maybe like, I don't know, another Knight of Ren or whatever.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
They want to turn her, yeah. And he's able to make her unconscious immediately. Like it's really cool.
God, I wish I could do that to myself.
For sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I gotta go to bed.
I would do it all the time.
Yeah, right.
Be asleep right now.
Yeah.
Here, hold on.
And then Han sees them taking her. So does Finn. He panics because he feels guilty because he abandoned her. And, you know, it's this whole, and he's like so terrified of the First Order that he's just like, this is his worst nightmare. It's a really powerful scene. And then we cut to Leia arriving. We get to see Leia for the first time. It's a huge reveal.
And then the best joke of the movie.
Oh my God, I love this. Is
You probably didn't recognize me because of the red arm.
We laughed at this so hard, like more than probably anybody else for some reason. And like, I feel like we sort of disrupted the
theatrical experience.
Yeah.
I think they had moved on to the next scene and we were still
laughing. Like, his red arm.
It is the best 3PO joke of all time.
Yeah,
It's good.
It's the only good joke that he's ever done.
That's also fair. Well, no, I like the when he's in Attack of the Clones. Those little bits work for me, and I'm not proud of it.
I'm beside myself.
Yeah,
This is such a drag.
You're earnestly laughing at that, which is so nice.
I'm dumb. And then we get the little bit where he's like, "You changed your hair," because the buns are
no
gone.
buns.
Same
She's
jacket.
got like one
No
bun
donuts.
Yeah.
now. No, it's a new jacket. I just buy the same one over and over.
I went to Kirkland's.
And then I like how Chewie hugs her immediately because that's like
that's
when you're
their
fighting with
relationship.
your wife, but like your brother's really close with her too. Like it just gave that vibe of like
It was so.
I'm not mad at you.
It was so cool to see them on screen again together, and not to veer off too much, but so I did read The Princess Diarist, which is Carrie Fisher's memoir, revisiting her time on set with the first movie and also highlighting her affair with Harrison Ford. Although that book came out after this movie, revisiting this movie with that context is almost makes these scenes a little bit more intense and a little bit more emotionally like especially because Carrie has passed away. And there is, although these two people on screen, their characters have this romantic history and they have this like life together. But in real life too, they also had this very emotional connection that, I don't know, it definitely heightens how you look at these people on screen. At least it does for me. And Carrie Fisher is just a national treasure of a person and an amazing actress. And yeah, it create like revisiting this movie and then having the context of like Carrie Fisher's story and her memoir is just so beautiful, very emotionally charged for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack, I think, from these two characters and the things that they say specifically. And I don't know much about that stuff, so it doesn't like land the same way for me. I don't have like a deep childhood fanhood with Star Wars. I've said many times, and I also don't know. I'm really relatively new, like in the last 8 years or so, to like the love of Carrie Fisher, you know. But this scene is emotionally charged for sure, mostly because of the red arm joke for me. But yeah, it's a great scene with the Chewie hug. But BB-8 runs to Poe because it's the first time that they're reunited, and then and then Finn and Poe are reunited. That's my jacket. Oh, it looks great on you.
Kiss. The way they
Kiss.
Poe Dameron, Finn, Poe Dameron, Finn. Oh man, kiss.
And he wants butts. He wants Poe to help him save Rey. He's like, I need your help. And I love the little bit. It's so random. I'm so glad they didn't cut it out with Chewie being talked to by the nurse like a baby. Like,
must be
that
so
sounds
brave.
That sounds very scary. Yeah.
Very brave of you. Very brave of you.
Chewie's like 60. The veteran and a veteran of a dozen battles at least.
Yeah.
And yet they put this in and I love it.
It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Chewie's got the riz, you know. Yeah. I love him.
And then already Han and Leia are arguing and I'm trying to be helpful. When did that ever help? The Death Star? No, there's that. Like there's this whole bit there. And then BB-8 finds R2-D2 and wow, the size difference between these two bots was not clear until that moment to me.
Papa?
Yeah. You walk so I could roll.
Yes.
Yeah, he's way bigger. But R2's been powered down since Luke left. He's just a sad boy at this point. Like, I know if you were able to get inside the can that R2's in, it would be really quietly in there. Tonight will be the night that I will die for you. Yeah. But then mommy and daddy talk and
mommy and daddy talk. Well, yeah, I do like this explanation of like how Han left because he felt like he reminded Leia of their son and they didn't know what to do after they lost it. So they went back to the one thing they were good at. She went to leading a rebellion. He went back to smuggling. Mm-hmm. And I do like how they kind of know that about themselves. They're not like mad at each other.
Yeah.
They're just sort of like,
it's unfortunate that
this is happening, but you could tell they still care about each other very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's like, she wants him to, I know that they're still good in Kylo or Ben, and I want you to help him. And he's like, what am I going to do? Luke's a fucking Jedi. He wasn't able to help him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, but you're his father.
Yeah.
And that's a good line. Mm-hmm. We cut to Rey, who's in the torture chair now. She's in the hot seat that Poe was in earlier.
Kylo was watching her sleep.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
Creepy.
Pretty.
She like wakes up, he's sniffing her hair like.
Snoke wanted me to do it.
Oh, not yet. Sleep.
Rey's like, wait.
Kylo takes his mask off for the first time. And I know apparently you guys are reading this way differently, but to me, it's an obvious, oh shit, he's hot.
Oh yeah, that 100% plays. It's either oh shit, he's hot, or oh my god, it's a real person.
That's what I thought. It was just like, oh, he's just a guy. Like it's not like some monster. Because like she calls him doesn't she say something like
you're a monster,
like you're being hunted by a monster or whatever? Like
you're a monster in a mask, and so he takes the mask off.
And that's what I thought. Like she's like coming to the realization of like, oh, it's just like a guy. Like it's not like a monster. It's just a man.
And that's a good point too, because I remember when we watched this in the theater and he takes his mask off, I remember like there was some audible gasps because I think other people were like, oh my god, it's just a kid.
Yeah,
that's just a young dude.
Yeah,
he looks so handsome.
Yeah, Adam Driver was not Adam Driver now yet.
Yeah.
I think he was in Girls before that,
Yes.
but it wasn't.
He just had sex and was about to have nachos.
Yes. Good soup. Good soup.
Good soup.
He was that guy. And honestly, there were some chuckles in my theater because he looked like a goober.
Yeah, I kind of laughed because I was like, oh, that's it, huh?
But it's part of the character that he's kind of a goober.
Right.
Yeah. But also, too, like, Darth Vader wore a mask because he had to. Like, it was an apparatus for him to be able to breathe. And in this instance, again, it's just aesthetics. Like, Kylo is just wearing this.
He's just a fanboy.
Yeah. And so, like, when he took the mask off, I think there was just almost this jarring, like, question of, like, why is he wearing it?
I think it helps, like, keep, like, his former identity out of what he wants to be now. So, like, he wants to be, like, full dark side, but he's still struggling with the fact that he's got light in him. So he's like, the mask will help me, like, shroud who I was to get into this.
Dress for the job you want.
Exactly.
Right.
It's his crime hoodie.
Yeah.
Essentially. But you think Snoke would call him out on that?
Yeah.
You're being
Snoke's like, I guess you'll
pretty corny.
do your thing. Do your thing.
Yeah. Whatever helps you
Whatever
murder.
helps,
You
man.
do you, dude.
And then when he drops the mask, that helmet's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Does he, like, drop it into, like, an ashtray? Like, what is that?
The stormtrooper, you just cut two stormtroopers who are just like
Ripping butts.
Just like a bowl of dirt.
We can't get anything out of her, boss.
fucking could ruin the control system again. Motherfucker.
Just set your helmet down here.
And then
It's going to be a bitch to clean out before you can put it back on.
he starts poking around in her head. And then, she fights back. She's practicing occlumency. Didn't know that she learned that trick. But then she does legilimency. Keep up, Phil. This is more Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah, you're not speaking my language.
But she's able to, like, read his mind. Not only is she able to defend her own, but she pushes back into his. She says, you're afraid that you will never be as strong as Darth Vader. And he's like, stop.
Stop it.
Nuh-uh.
No.
No. She knows my greatest fear.
Wait, stop. No.
She sees an image of him as he really is, and he's wearing a flat bill and drinking a Monster. And punching a wall. Because he can't beat the last level in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So that's a fun
Shao
scene.
Kahn's hard.
And then we cut to him talking to Snoke, and he's like, dude, she's tough. Because he's
not
like,
my fault. She knows the ways of the Force.
I know, he's like so whiny now. And then Hux comes in and he's just like, oh, and he didn't get the droid. He said it was, and then like everybody's such a bitch now.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I like it.
I like it too.
It was funny.
But they realize that they need to, I think it's the Elenium system where the rebels are housed, and they decide they want to destroy that, right? Is that why I have that note?
Yeah, they say the planet's on the Ilenium system. Yes, the planet is called Dakar, but I guess there's another planet called Ilenium. I guess.
I would assume.
Yeah,
I would assume. And then Snoke's like, "Bring her to me," right? Because he wants to see the Jedi
girl.
prodigy.
he really chews that line too.
Yeah,
Bring her to me.
it's Andy Serkis. He's going to chew that scenery.
Yeah, he is.
So she,
Precious.
We cut to her trying the mind trick, and I like how at first he's like, "No,
I'm going to do the opposite of
I'll
what you just
fucking
said.
tighten your straps,
Right.
scavenger scum."
What's this in this? Daniel
Daniel
Craig?
Craig.
It is
Yeah.
Daniel Craig.
Oh yeah,
That Stormtrooper's Daniel Craig.
It's really funny.
If you know that going in and you listen to him, you're like, oh yeah, that's 100%
Yeah.
Daniel Craig. I'll tighten those restraints. Scavenger scum.
she tries it a third time, but at first you can see her like really kind of hone in, and then it clicks now that they're looking at each other, and then it works,
and then he sort of like
Straightens up.
moves a bit too.
Yeah,
like,
straightens up.
Yeah,
Robot
you like
mode.
see it work.
Yep.
and then on the way out, Angel, drop your weapon, and I'll drop my weapon.
Clunk.
I love that scene. I think it's
That's
good.
good.
It's a good one.
We cut to more Kyle temper tantrums, and
Kyle.
they're
I love how the Stormtrooper's like, nope, and they just turn around.
Yeah.
and then they're charging up the weapon on Starkiller Base. It sucks the sun out for its power, and we get the whole bit about how it's a bigger Death Star, and there's always a way to blow it up.
I hope you guys know what an oscillator is, because we're going to say oscillator 50 times.
Yeah, we got to hit the oscillator, and then Finn's like, I can disable the shields. I've been on that base. And it's almost like a goofy, like, how would he be able to disable the shields? He was a nobody who's been on one mission. But that's the point. He's
Yeah.
lying because he wants to go help Finn.
Yeah. We get to see Admiral Akbar in this scene. Nia Num's in this scene.
Num Nums?
A dude that looks like an awful lot like Jan Dodonna, but I can't confirm that that's who that character is.
You're just saying fake words. Go on.
Yeah. And then Miles from Lost is in this scene.
Love
Finn's
it.
playing with bombs, just like knocking them together and stuff. And
He's like, hey, be careful with that.
you should have told me that earlier.
Yeah.
And then Leia, we get the goodbye from Leia and Han, which knowing what's going to happen is like emotionally destructive. But also it's kind of funny that she almost says the whole, I've always hated watching you leave, but I love watching you go.
I love watching you go.
But don't. And she tells, bring him home, bring our son home. And the look on Harrison's face is one of like, I have no idea how I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I wish you wouldn't ask me that.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's a big ask.
Yeah.
Finn and Poe give each other like a little shoulder tap on the way back, and it's
A little
like,
butt tap too.
Yeah.
Not captured on camera.
No, but it's head
It
canon.
happened.
Just good game. Quick.
Yeah. Like, go get him, Tiger.
Yeah. See you later. God, I love that jacket on you. Kylo knows that Rey's learning her powers quickly. He gets alerted that she's busted out, and he's like, "We gotta find her quickly. She's a real Mary Sue. It's gonna."
I love that he just like explains this to just like a random stormtrooper on the bridge too. Like, why does he need to know?
The stormtrooper's like, I'm just on my lunch.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Well, as we learned earlier, all of them are privy to the
Oh, that's
finest
true,
details
true.
of
They
the
are,
operation
right,
of the
they
film.
are,
I'm sorry. It was a window. You let me back
Get
in.
over it.
You let me back in.
Get over it.
The shields have a fractional refresh rate, and so if they land at light speed, they're able to get right into Starkiller Base, which is really neat. You know, it's a more cool panache that Han gets to exhibit, like just going full all the way up to the surface at light speed. He's a fucking madman. I love it.
He's good at edging.
Yes,
He is good at edging.
sure. And then Kylo immediately senses Daddy. Daddy?
Daddy?
Solo.
Mid sentence.
We need to find the Han Solo.
Daddy? And then we find out, we get the whole bit about how Finn reveals he was a sanitation worker. It's like, oh, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. You know, we'll use the Force. That's not how the Force works. But it totally kind of is.
Yeah.
it 100% is.
It basically just shows like how like Han just still does not know how the Force works
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
He's been around it for a very long time, still has no idea.
He's not Force sensitive.
And I always love Han Solo Chewie banter.
Yeah.
It always works. And this is a good one where Chewie like interrupts. He's like, oh, really? You're cold?
Yeah.
And he's got all that fur too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
And this is kind of like a Hoth, like,
Esque scene.
yeah, they want to show you like everything that you love. And I think that there's a reason they put snow in this little part. Like, it's just like, ooh,
Yeah.
snow.
Also, Ilum is a nice planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like all of that
Canonically.
lore is like after the fact stuff for the most part.
For the most part. I mean, Ilum's a post-Hoth world.
Post Hoth world.
Yeah. Post-Hoth world.
We all live in a post
We all
Hoth
live in a
world.
post-Hoth world.
So we get 15 minutes until the weapon is fully charged enough to destroy the Elenium system. I love the bit where Chewie just straight tackles Phasma.
Yeah.
It's I don't know why. And then we get more, and I think this, you were thinking, we're on the same page with this, but Rey sneaking around Starkiller is the same as Obi-Wan Kenobi sneaking around. And
Yeah.
she's on the,
That's why. That's why the theories that Rey was Obi-Wan's child were
Yeah.
around, because clearly she's got the down.
Yeah.
and you were alluding
But
to
she's just
people
crop
theorizing
dusting.
Yeah.
she was Han's daughter.
Well, no. Just
earlier.
like, I think because she has good chemistry with one of the main actors from the original trilogy, just kind of feeds into, her lineage is more like related
Yeah.
to the original people. Not necessarily that she's Han's daughter, because I think that would have been too obvious versus other theories that there were. But I did entertain the Kenobi relation for a long time.
Yeah,
long time.
Her being a child of Kenobi was a real big theory
Yeah.
for a long time. There's a ton of different theories.
Which
circling.
of them all, I think I liked that one the most. And we can kind of go into that later, but
But I do like the scene because it's very much like A New Hope, because there is some like troopers doing hot goss that we hear. And in this scene, it's them talking about the T-17s. No, I like them. I think they've been refurbished pretty well. You know, it's very similar to the scene we get in A New Hope. But then Rey is climbing like a little spider monkey all around town. And they decide to throw Phasma into the trash compactor after she lowers the shields, which is hilarious. Yeah, there is. Yes. John Boyega's great.
I love him.
which justice for Phasma. Can I just say I like that character a lot.
Yeah.
And you guys will talk about it in The Last Jedi, I'm sure, but just RIP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're
Everything
right.
works out great for
You're
her.
right.
Most
You're right.
underutilized
Yes.
minor villain.
You've got so many characters though. Like, what are you going to do with Phasma? You know,
She really
I
is.
can think of a couple things that you could do with her.
go
Any
on.
single thing.
She really is the Boba Fett of this trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, looks super cool, has such big promise of a character, but they just shit on her.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Yeah.
Literally throw in the compactor
Ray crop dusts her.
because she's
Execute.
just rude. We get the pilots of the Resistance flying in. One of them is randomly speaking Solutsi, and I thought that was funny because they're all in English.
Celestin, I think.
Celestin?
Yeah, because that's the type of
Celesti
alien
sounds
that Nien Nunb
sexual.
is.
You're being so Celesti.
Nien Nunb is a total Celestian.
I just thought it was interesting because they're all like, all right, Gold Leader, yeah, we're going in. All right, good luck, guys. Bang, 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 bang. It's like, hey, dude, why are you being an asshole, Frank? We can't understand you.
Speak resistance. Get out.
So then there's also troopers with no visors for a second. And I thought that helmet design was
I saw
rough.
that too, yeah.
Like, it's really cool looking, but you imagine those guys are just like, I
see
hate
anything.
this job.
Yeah.
It's the Death Star gunner helmet, but they like flipped it. Yeah.
They're wearing it backwards.
Yeah.
Because they suck.
Audio troopers.
Yep. They just on a podcast.
Yeah, right.
And as long, I like the line too, as long as there's light, we got a chance. Like that's obvious because of the sun. It's literal, but obviously it's like a metaphor as well.
Yeah.
Han sees Rey and there's the whole, why are you doing the chin up thing? I'm trying to formulate a plan.
funny.
And she's just climbing. Oh, she's always taking care of herself. She don't need you motherfuckers, right?
Literally.
I like when Rey runs into them. She's like, oh my God, you guys all came back for me. And then Chewie said it was your idea. Like, what a bro.
Yeah.
Like he's in the back, like it was Fenn's idea.
Chewie's a real one.
Yeah.
He also is in love with you.
And then they have a nice hug. What's that little bit in the elevator when Chewie gives Han the cloak that he finds on the floor? What did
It's
I miss
a
something?
coat. It's a coat.
It's the coat.
It's his coat that he wore in.
Oh, it's Han's coat?
Yeah, because remember, it's like a callback to, oh, you're cold?
Oh.
Yeah.
Because they're going back outside.
Oh, that's cool. That's a
Yeah.
good joke. I
Yeah.
wish I had known
when
that
it's
at the
cold
time.
outside, you put the coat on inside before you go
It
outside.
puts the coat on his skin.
I didn't catch the whole coat thing at all. So I did when it was brought
It was
back.
a very minor detail, but
Yeah.
I did notice it for the first time rewatching it this time.
Don't
a
forget
good-
your coat, sweetie.
That's a
Yeah.
good bit. By the way, one of the Resistance fighters, this is what I was talking about earlier, is Jessica Henwick, who I love.
Yeah. Oh.
She plays Jessica Pava. And I was like, holy shit, is that Jessica Henwick? Big fan of her. So neat that she got a little Star Wars cameo.
There's a ton of those Star Wars cameos in here.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's 10 minutes left until Starkiller Base busts. And it's time to use my buddy's bombs. So they decide they're going to blow up the oscillator their damn selves. So they start laying charges all around. Han sees Kylo. Ben! So his name is actually Ben Ren.
Ben Solo.
Ben Solo.
No, it was
Ben Ren.
Ben Ren.
That's why he changed it from Ben once he chose Ren.
It's actually Ben Ben.
Yeah. Ben. Ben, I see you.
You joke, but that's 100% a Star Wars name.
Wait,
I'm sure.
Ben Ben?
That
Yeah,
sounds
I'm
like a
sure.
Star Wars
Ben
name.
Ben.
It's Ben Ren or Kylo Solo.
Kylo Solo.
I don't think Kylo Ren is any part of his original name.
No.
They
No,
always
it's-
choose a new one.
It's a title, like the Knights
Why is-
of Ren have
Yeah,
Ren
yeah.
as a last name. Yeah.
Why is he not a Darth?
Because he's
Knights
not
of
a
Ren.
full Sith yet.
They're not
He's
Sith.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, they're not even Sithers. Binks my pussy.
Yeah.
I'm here for that
You
reveal.
mean Binks my pussy?
Misa running the First Order. Misa Bombat Supreme Leader.
Mr. Bussin' for fascism. And then we get the iconic, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Can you help me?
It's a great scene.
It's good.
It's truly amazing.
And then
I
you
think.
you almost for a second believe that, oh, there's going to be a redemption here. Like he will come to his senses, but then the overcast, the sun is
the light
going
completely
away,
fades.
the ominous red on his face. And then you pan to Rey and Finn. The moment happens.
This is where Steve and I turned to each other and we're like, did they seriously just do it?
I vividly remember Phil turning to me with a shocked face going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
See,
I mean, I feel like we kind of instinctively knew this
You
was
knew
coming,
deep
but
down.
we didn't know, we didn't.
You didn't think they had the balls
Like
to
it
do
wasn't
it.
real until we
happened.
saw it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then when you see him fall off the catwalk as well, you're like, wow, that is truly the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it.
And it's so sad because he puts his hand up and like
Caresses his
face a little bit before he falls.
falls,
Like,
yeah.
oh.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I had full body chills, especially when they cut to Leia and she
It's a
could
good scene.
feel it in the Force.
Anytime they cut to someone feeling someone's death in the Force, it hurts even
yeah,
more.
like Yoda
did-
when
I-
Order 66. Yeah.
Yeah, I did cry last night watching this. I was like, I cried like a little bitch. It was so touching.
It's really effectively done. Very powerful. And then Rey, especially great acting with the shriek of sad anger. And then Chewie goes
I'll be
bananas.
honest.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Chewie yell always
That's the
gets me
moment.
more.
Yeah.
When he goes,
That's the moment.
and then he just, I'm going to shoot you with a dick.
Unloads
Which
everywhere.
is, when you really think about it, like Chewie had to have like watched this kid grow up
Yeah.
and like how hard
That's
that had
his
to have
best
been.
friend.
And then he like shoots this kid. It's a really powerful moment.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also too, I'm sure Chewie like watch. Oh yeah, I thought you meant Han Solo like watching this kid grow up, but you meant Ben.
Both
Never
of
mind.
them, yeah.
Both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's that part for me is the part that hits the hardest. It isn't like it's not him getting killed. It's Chewie's reaction specifically because of all the history they have.
That's his bro.
Yeah.
The only one that can understand him talk. How am I going to
Chewie's
communicate
like,
now?
fuck.
Wookiees before rookies, my guy.
That's right.
Nice.
And he blows up the detonator, so he blows up the oscillator, but it's not enough. The oscillator is damaged, but still functional. 2 minutes until the gun can fire and destroy them all. Rey and Finn are running. Kylo's there. We're not done yet. So he's been wounded, but he wants to fight him. And he force throws her when she tries to shoot him. And he's like, that's my lightsaber. I want 2 of them.
I want it. I tried to buy it on eBay, but
Yeah.
Maz wouldn't sell it.
I got outbid by Maz.
In my notes, so we're in the forest, right? Like
Yeah.
they're fighting.
Yeah.
I put in my notes. He force pushes Rey against a tree. I don't know about y'all, but I would have been done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Because he like launches her
Absolutely.
2 stories high as well.
Literally. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm out.
She's out.
I'm done.
And he burns Finn with the cross guard there. in the scene.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Which goes back to what you said. Like you see like the actual use
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very minor, but
Really, really
I dig
cool.
it. I dig
Yeah.
it.
Ow. Tosses the saber. It's a cool fight. I mean, I didn't take detailed notes of it, but it's a really cool fight. Finn tries, and I like how they, and I don't like it, but I actually hate it. But it's weird how they kind of misdirected you, or maybe it's a product of the Rian Johnson directing and not. They didn't have a plan for this trilogy, but it's interesting how they clearly kind of hinted at maybe Finn was force sensitive. Maybe Finn could be the Jedi. Stormtrooper to Jedi arc is a very cool idea.
Yeah.
And then they just, after this scene, they just don't revisit it ever again.
Well, we'll revisit that in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, you guys talk about
I'll
that.
put a pin in that. I have thoughts on that.
I like that the scenes like there's no like this fight is extremely like basic in the fact that like there's no like twirling, there's no spinning, there's no like typical Jedi fighting
Moves.
styles here.
Prequel
Like
era
it's
stuff,
just
yeah.
straight up just like axe to axe. Like there's nothing
very
fancy
medieval.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way Kylo fights is it's driven by rage, of course, but it's brutal. It's brutalistic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an old school kind of medieval fight. They
Right.
weren't sexy. It was just like,
Right.
who's strong enough to swing this
Right.
thing?
Yeah.
And then you can be a warrior if you can. And he acts like it's heavy, you know,
Right.
which it couldn't be. But
Sure.
I mean, his helmet's really fucking heavy.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be 40-pound little thingy.
I mean, sometimes things have a weight in the Force.
True.
I don't know if you've kept up on the Darksaber saga,
Nope.
but that thing apparently weighs a lot.
Oh, that thing is tough to wield.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that in The Mandalorian. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the issue there? I tried to have Brad explain it to me. He's like, you have to use the Force to lift it. So it's like, he doesn't actually talk like that, but it's funnier to imagine it. But yeah, so there's a cool fight, but he disarms Finn and tosses the saber.
like
and then
slices him up his back.
Yeah, his
Whoa.
spine.
gets him pretty good. And then he's trying to force pull the saber. And then he seems to do it, but Rey behind him, slightly stronger,
So badass.
grabs it instead.
To this day, when that
badass.
saber hilt flies to the air and Rey catches it, I like do like a
Yeah, it's a good moment.
Everybody talks shit now, but I was in a theater with 200 of the biggest Star Wars fans in my area because it was like midnight the night of premiere. Everybody cheered.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
a triumphant moment.
It was
moment,
like it was the equivalent to Captain America wielding Mjolnir
Yeah.
from Endgame. Like
Yeah.
it had that oomph to it. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
With the music, John Williams music and everything.
And then she fucks this bitch ass up because she knows how to fight. We've seen that she's
Yeah.
physically trained.
Yeah, she could fight.
She's
He's
staffed up.
injured.
And he's been wounded by, I think Finn did manage to wound him in the shoulder. He's
Yeah.
been shot in the dick.
Shot in the dick.
By the way, we saw what those bullets do earlier. They're like grenades. You
Yeah.
know?
Right,
His
yeah.
dick explodes.
He's
And
rightfully.
he's like
I love that
punching
whole-
himself to like get the blood out, I guess. Or like
I think
the
it's
pain
more
or
of like
whatever.
a encouragement. Not encouragement.
I think
That's
he's
a bad.
I think it is an encouragement. He's
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
the pain to fuel
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
anger.
That's
Yeah.
the way Andy always interpreted it. Like it hurts,
Yeah.
and that makes him like angry to
Yeah.
keep fighting because he's physically about to fall over, and he's like,
Right.
no.
Right.
Because he got
Yeah.
shot in the dick.
Girl. Yeah, and then there's the fight.
I do
and
love the
she
fight
does the
with-
whole like Kenobi meditate thing.
I do love the fight between the two of them because they're in the forest and so they're just like slicing through trees and trees are falling
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And also,
great.
I don't know, like, have we ever had a fight scene in the snow before?
No.
So,
I don't believe so.
like the elements are in itself really cool.
Well,
And it's
when Luke-
nighttime,
Luke cuts the arm off a Yeti in the snow, but
right?
Yeah, that's
But
what
you
I-
have the two lights, you know, the red, the blue, juxtaposed with like the white snow. Like it's just visually a very cool
Yeah, it looks good, yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And I like too that, you know, this was not intended, but in retcon is explained, but she's kind of like an angry fighter. She's not, obviously she's never been trained as a Jedi, but she's not a Jedi type lightsaber fighter at all. She's obviously very passionate while she's fighting Kylo back.
Right.
Which is part of what he likes it. And he tries to recruit her during this. Like, you need a teacher. You need a teacher.
Yeah.
Good soup. That's what you need. I just had sex.
She's gonna need soup after being in the snow.
Yes, true. He's gonna be very cold.
True, yeah.
And then she actually beats him. Like she slices him up,
She said, "Take that."
knocks
His
him down.
face. I was really hoping, I think it'd be really funny if that scene where she's blocking him and she like closes her eyes and the music swells. She's getting attuned with the force. And then it's just a jump cut to her like kicking him in the dick. Oh, are you guys only doing that to me?
That would have actually been so funny. That would have been great.
Gotcha. And she runs.
And then they get separated because they destroy the oscillator in that moment, and the planet starts to crumble, and they get separated by a crevasse. That's why they can't continue their fight. And then Snoke tells Hux, "You need to get out of here. I'm not going to lie. Take Kylo. I need him too. Grab that bitch." And then Chewie gets Finn to the Falcon. He's unconscious. They fly away in the nick of time. And to be clear, the entire fucking planet explodes.
Yeah.
And I assume billions of people die because
Yeah.
No one lives on.
canonically, is that true?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the only people, I mean, there's probably thousands of First Order dudes that die, but
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
fine.
think there's really a civilization on Ilum.
I like to imagine there's a city on the other side, you know?
They're like, have you guys, I think there's stormtroopers over there. Have you guys seen them?
I think earthquake.
Oh, what's going on? And yeah, and not only
right.
does it explode, it becomes the sun that it sucked up.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which is kind of, because it just, and then it's just the sun. Which is neat.
I will say, like, mirroring A New Hope, I did recognize, I was like, blow up this other big ass.
Because the ditch run, yeah.
Like, it did allude to, like, A New Hope where they blew up the Death Star. I was like, they could have, like, damaged it a little bit. They didn't need to, like, blow it up, you
It's
know?
beat for beat, pretty much, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Rey is Luke, and then the MacGuffin thing, and then the Death
Right,
Star
right,
thing.
yeah.
But again, it's an intentional choice because they want it to be like, hey,
Yeah.
here's the normal thing. Once we get you in with a, hey, we know what Star Wars is, we understand it, then we're going to start doing new stuff with the story.
Yeah.
When this movie ends, it's in a really good place to go into new directions.
It's
New
like
territory.
it's like having sex with an ex. You know what they like. You're just going to get straight to it. You
Yeah.
like that? You like that? You tried some different stuff. It wasn't working. People didn't like it. You know? You don't like this metaphor?
Oh no, I'm
We're
invested.
waiting.
Phil's.
I have nothing to add. to
I'm
this.
invested. I want to see how you land it.
That's it. That's
I know where you're going.
It's landed.
I got you. I know where
It's
you're going.
landed.
Okay, all right.
You're just on the move.
Yeah,
No, I don't know.
sex.
That's what they should have called this. X-Sex. Yeah, so then back on Elysium, Leia does
Dakar.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
The Elysium system.
In the Elysium, yep.
They are Leia hugs Rey. Chewie's very sad.
Which is funny because Rey has never met Leia before.
Yeah, that's the one thing in this movie I really don't like is Chewie walks past Leia, because Chewie should be the one that goes to Leia and is like, my girl.
I mean, I'm sure
Bring it in.
Leia has probably heard of Rey, just
It's like the only other girl in the universe.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But she's also walking off of the Falcon, so I'm sure she can interpret like a lot of things from that.
Right.
Even J.J. Abrams said in an interview, like, he's like, that's the thing I wish we did differently in this movie.
Yeah.
Because he's like, from a structural standpoint, Chewie's taken Finn to get help, but because he's just in the background of the scene, it reads like he ignored Leia, which wouldn't have happened.
Maybe Chewie blew in a call before they came back and just like gave her the update.
Girl.
So they had maybe they had their moment off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He called her and was like, don't talk to me when I get there.
Yeah.
I can't handle it right now.
Maybe that's it. Maybe
Plus, there's this girl with me who has no friends.
Yeah.
Please take care of her.
I can't cry in front of my homies.
He texted her like LUUUUUULUU.
Oh, I was like, Lou, what?
I was like, is Chewie like lulling her? Han's dead, lol.
That's how he talks.
Like, I thought that meant lots of love.
Hands down, lol.
Leia's used to it by now. She knows what he's talking about.
But R2 powers up. 3PO's like, we have to find Master Luke. And R2 has the rest of the map, as BB-8 called earlier in the movie. And for some unknown fucking insane reason, they send this chick they just met to get Luke.
She has the lightsaber.
She has the lightsaber.
Well, give me that, bitch. Like, who are you?
Leia's got to run the resistance.
I'm busy.
Yeah, she's busy.
Yeah, so they send,
I love how they
may the force be with you.
It makes the movie better if they send her.
Yeah,
Right,
for sure.
Right.
but I do like the small touch where they fly to Achto, the planet, the lonely island planet. I'm on a boat, and but because she talked about earlier, like she always sees this island in her dreams. So so when she's flying in, there's one shot of Chewie looking at her like, you all right? What are you doing there? Because she's like, oh, the island from my dreams. It was meant to be.
Dream Island.
Yep.
And Luke fucking Skywalker. We get the best ending there could have possibly been, like, to get people so hyped
Jazzed.
for the
Yes.
next movie.
Oh yeah, I was
Yes.
so jazzed.
Luke takes his cowl down, handing him his lightsaber.
There was a hand attached to that. Did you find the hand? I really need that hand back.
But let's do the medal ceremony. Phil, what are you going to give The Force Awakens that you wouldn't give to any other film?
Sound design. I think this movie sounds awesome.
one.
Like throughout, I was routinely amazed at just like all the little noises like throughout every single scene. So I listened with AirPods in. And they do a really good job of like making it sound really nice and crisp. And I was just noticing the whole time, like, man, this movie sounds amazing. Like they really spent a lot of time like engineering how every scene is supposed to sound, like from Kylo's voice, like the modulation on his voice, to like the weight of his steps, to everything. Just every single bit of this movie sounds amazing. So props to the sound engineers who worked on this film.
This was nominated for sound mixing and sound editing.
Oh, really?
For an Oscar.
Good.
Yep.
Well,
It did not win,
props to
but
him.
it was nominated for sound mixing and sound editing.
Well deserved. Madison, are you ready
For
your medal ceremony?
My medal ceremony?
Yeah.
I think mine is I guess like stormtrooper sympathizer, I guess. Like that plot line, because I do like how we have kind of re-entered, or we got to see a new just like side of this universe, which is, you know, the stormtrooper storyline. Like who are these people? Like what do they go through in order to become stormtroopers, and just like kind of like the emotional weight that is being a stormtrooper. Like I think we've just completely ignored in previous movies. Like these are people that, you know, do, I'm sure, create relationships within this army. And, you know, the morning scene of Finn, you know, essentially like seeing somebody that he knows pass away in front of his eyes, and then, you know, to have this emotional
Carl.
Yeah. Paul
Or B2X42. No.
Bert. And so I think this angle with Finn is really interesting, and I liked how we got to explore that with his character. So that's my medal.
Absolutely.
Good one.
Mr. Steve?
My medal is it's the funniest Star Wars movie,
Oh, yeah.
hands down.
that's good.
Like it has the most jokes. I'd say 90% of them land.
Yeah.
And it's a good time.
It's a fucking good movie. Like, just a fun-ass movie.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I would say best cast.
Yeah.
Because you get almost all of the originals, and then you throw in John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, but
Oscar
also
Isaac.
technically Daniel Craig, Lupita Nyong'o,
Yep.
Simon Pegg.
Aren't Prince Harry and what's his name?
think so.
They're
stormtroopers as well.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No one knows like which stormtroopers they are, but they were on set and dressed up as stormtroopers at one point.
That's fun.
Meghan Markle was in there somewhere.
King Charles.
He was the
He was the pig elephant.
And then
He
now
was the pig.
it's time to do it, guys. We're way late.
We're gonna do it.
We got to rank these bitches. So just a reminder, we got Empire, New Hope, Revenge of the Sith,
Return.
Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. That's the order that we're working with so far. I've got it tracked on my letterboxd. I already threw it in where I want Force Awakens.
Where do you want it to be thrown in?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you already have.
I also have a list, and it's so funny because it aligns with your guys' list pretty solidly.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Right on.
I think I would be a madman and put Force Awakens at number 2.
Okay.
Empire, Force Awakens, and then The Way We Have It. Is that what you have?
That's what I have.
So
Phil, what are you thinking?
Wait. What was your?
Empire, Force Awakens, New Hope, Revenge of the Sith,
Keep going.
Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones.
Man,
We're like.
Simpatico.
We're on it.
Simpatico.
Wow.
it's hard because unfortunately, and maybe I'm revealing my hand a bit here, but the sequel trilogy as a trilogy, I don't like as much as the other two because they don't tell like a consistently good story across all three. So it's hard because like I can't divorce what this is from that, but on its own, I would say it's, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do think it is a slightly better version of A New Hope because it's more cinematic. It's got compelling characters. It's got humor. It looks pretty. It sounds amazing. Like
yeah, it's got all the elements.
It's just a flashier version of that movie. And you're right. Like the cast is essentially almost the same in a lot of ways with a lot of new people involved too. So I could be convinced to come to your guys' side if Steve doesn't present another argument here.
Oh, are you saying it falls to me?
I'm not saying it falls to you.
Steve.
I'm just
Choose
saying.
wisely.
Oh shit, she's got guns on me. She's got guns on me.
I just respect Steve's opinion a lot in this regard. So
Are you guys
he
going to be
may-
allowed to the the meetups still if you say this?
I don't go to
What
meetups.
You guys all park your speeders in a
Star
parking
Wars
lot.
speakeasy
We're gonna go-
downtown.
Yeah,
They're not. We're not going to be able to show our faces in Tashi Station.
the Jizz Club.
Say goodbye to
I'm going to have to get my power converters through Amazon. 'Cause
That's
I cannot
true.
go down to that store.
the Jizz Club is something very different.
I know. I showed up. There were 0 Star Wars fans. I hung out for a while. Though.
Where's figuring down to the modal nodes?
Get your modal nodes right here. bub
Yeah. So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm putting it at 2
Oh, that's it. We got 3.5.
boy. Oh, shit.
because this is just this is a
Steve's
fun
so
ass
scared.
movie. Now, so the thing is,
Oh, I'm not scared.
We've done it.
I wouldn't say it's a better version of A New Hope because like I know a lot of people like make the comparisons, and I think it's fair to make the comparisons between Force Awakens and New Hope. I think this is a totally fair comparison. I don't necessarily see it as a 1-to-1, like these are the same movies, because both movies are trying to achieve something completely different. And I think both movies achieve exactly what they're individually trying to do. But this movie, I think if I were to like, I'm going to rewatch Star Wars, I think Force Awakens is more rewatchable
Yeah.
I think so too.
than A New Hope.
Yeah,
agree.
it's just so fun.
Yeah, it's just a good time. It's
Yeah.
a good ass time. And it doesn't make sense everywhere. No. Does A New Hope? No. So like at the end of the day, like what do I feel like more in the mood to watch? I mean, I love both movies. I love all these movies to an extent. Maybe not Attack of the Clones or Phantom Menace. But really it's sort of like which of the things do you love more? And it's just kind of like, well, in my present moment today, here and now, as I live and breathe across from all you beautiful people,
Yes.
I'm more likely to watch
I
Force
love
Awakens.
this. This is not how I expected
And-
this to go.
I think too, like
Change your
the fact
letterbox
that-
review.
Do it right now.
Do it.
the fact that like we've seen A New Hope so many times too. Like I haven't seen this a fraction of the amount of times that I've seen that one. So I'm more likely to go back and watch this one again than that one because it is a fun time and I simply have not seen it as many times. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth putting up in the second place because I'm thinking about like which ones would I want to rewatch and like that's sort of informing like how I rank these, and this one would be up there.
Like, so for me, I think this is more rewatchable because I think the pop culture element of like the hype of this movie was, and the payoff of it was really well received, at least for me, versus, the Phantom Menace. I feel like just hearing your guys' talk, like the Phantom Menace was kind of not a well payoff when it was released in theaters.
Not at the time.
So I would argue that like The Force Awakens is almost like the Revenge of the Sith of the prequel trilogy. It's like it was the payoff that everyone was wanting. And like, obviously the Revenge of the Sith was the cap and this is the beginning. But I think because it had this like momentum, it just brings people back to want to like relive that. And so I think that's why it's why it deserves the number 2 spot. I mean, it's a very solid Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. We did it.
Yeah, we did it, gang. I'm proud of
I
us.
didn't
I'm not
think we
gonna
had
lie,
it in
I
us.
was really nervous that I was gonna be the minority opinion here. I don't know why, but
I was too. I was like, they're going to be shocked at how much I love this movie. And then everybody dug it.
You keep thinking that we're going to like attack you for your beliefs about these movies, and we don't.
It's almost like I have horrible experiences talking about my opinions online daily. I'm so delighted when I come to normal people.
no, it's just talking about your opinion in front of these two
Because we're
off
not
camera.
like extremely online.
Well, let's do it. Let's wrap this juggernaut up with this wonderful, half
very-
appropriate, half normal Mad Lib.
Here we go. This week's Mad Libs is appropriately titled The Force Awakens. Here we go. It's been 30 starfighters since the Battle of Not Jakku. Luke Banana Walker has vanished, and the funny First Order has risen from the ashes of the Galactic Empire. With the sand of Kylo Ren, the First Order will not vibrate until Skywalker has been destroyed. General Leia Organa, with the help of Poe, Finn, Rey, BB-8, and Kit Vibrate, is also searching for Luke in the hopes of squirting peace to the galaxy.
Squirt that piece.
Yep, all over.
I stand with Squirt.
BB-8 has the puddle the Resistant needs to find Luke, but the droid has been stranded on the desert Naboo of Jakku. With the only help of floating stormtrooper Finn and the sharp scavenger Rey. Will the Resistance have the stormtroopers to stop the First Order and penetrate Luke?
Yes.
Or will the First Order lick Luke before he ever has the chance to help?
Find out.
Lick away. Find out next week.
Yeah.
That's all the time we've got for this week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Madison, for coming home.
Yeah, thanks, Madison.
Next
Of course.
week, we're actually going to be covering Fallout, the new show, all week. But The Last Jedi will return Friday.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. But that's all the time we have for right now. We've got to go return some videotapes. My name is Kit.
I'm Madison.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Streaming Things. Happy streaming.